got you. I got you. Go with my boy.
Got you.
Non-dispensary.
Got you.
Uh,
Uh,
damn. I'm hip. Let me see my. I'm gonna call my boy. See if he's up though. See if he's up. See if he can hook you up.
this dude.
Okay. I'm done. Now it's one of my friends, and she's like, "I'm moving." I told her, I was like, "Oh, you need help? I got you." But I always learn the hard way after. You only help people move. You're like, my back is broke. You're
That is true. That is true. Yep. Well,
like my back.
now we are up and going. Finally. It like resetting my settings. I don't know why.
Are we up? We live?
I don't know why I resetted my settings, but fuck, as long as it's working, I guess.
Are we live?
Yes, we
Or are we
are.
just up? Oh, we're live.
Yeah. Gotta crank these fans up.
Live? Hold on. I gotta hide my face.
You gotta hide your face.
You don't see me. You don't see me. Can't see me.
Can't
Can't
see.
see me. Hold on. I'm making a new Dodge logo.
I gotta put some new. I gotta order some new thermal paste. This is
I'm
annoying.
making a Dodge logo. The Frat Sonic thingy.
He said. I thought that was Citroen for a second.
Oh, that's see, they stole it. They stole their
He said
design.
they stole it. That's crazy.
Is it actually off topic? Isn't it funny? They have to sell the Charger EVs at a discount. What, a massive discount? Like what, 20, 30,000 dollars off?
That's why they're putting the
Because
V8 back in
nobody
that
wants them.
motherfucker. They're putting
Yeah,
the
first
V8
like the
back.
Hemi's coming back for Ram. And then they said it might come back for the Charger.
No,
No,
they
it
they're
will.
definitely gonna do it.
It has to come back.
Yeah, of
And
course.
it's probably only gonna come back as a 6.4 or a 6.2 because they're probably gonna be like the 5.7 could be like the 5.3 in a work truck, like it could be like that. Hey, you want a Hemi, but you need something that just
Of
makes the
course.
Hemi sounds. And V8, yeah, here you go.
Well, that's what it's
They
supposed.
better,
That's what I told you. That's their bread and butter. That's what it's supposed to be.
but you know what they got to do? You know what they should do then?
What's that?
Give us a modern day Little Red Express or like a
A
modern
modern
day
day
SST.
Little Red
Yeah, like a
Express.
modern day SRT 8 RAM, 6.4, 1500 regular cab, short bed, RCSB,
That's
lightest
crazy.
configuration. That's the only way you're gonna go after the F-150s. Right now, Dodge is like, oh, we got these Rams, and people get crew cabs, and like they only make a limited number of regular cab short beds, unless you get a work truck. And sometimes they come in a long bed, and we don't want a long bed. So give me a 6.4 instead of 5.7. So I don't gotta swap it. That way, these Coyote boys and the F-150, that's what we need to start calling them, the Coyote boys,
Coyote
can stop
Boys.
running around.
There's Coyote Boys. There's the what is it? There's Honda Boys. There's
On the board.
the LS guys. The Hemi Group.
Right? We gotta
Mopar
call
No
them the K
Cars.
boys. We gotta call
Mopar
them the
No
K boys. There's
Cars.
so many. Yeah, Mopar and Okar. I was part of that family.
I'm not.
I
I
liked
don't.
it because they were nice. They
I
were
don't.
nice. They were the nicest at first.
I could care less.
At first, the Mopar and No Car group was like out of all the communities that I joined compared to like I hate to say some of the grandpa cars like I had like the Oldsmobile, Lincoln LS, Lincoln Mark 8, BMW 540, the 525, the 92, and then the 98 was a 540.
Mm.
But the Mopar guys were some of the nicest people. Like you go in there asking for help, like man, don't even try asking for help in a Cadillac for them. They're like, take your car to the dealership. You don't have money to have a Cadillac. I'm like, damn, you old geezers. Like you don't know how to fix your own car. And some of them who were smart, they're like, hey man, you're smart. You're right. Fix your own car, save your money. Look at these guys. They go to the dealership and get bent over.
Pretty much. That's
But
pretty
like
much how it
the Chevy
goes.
guys, are just like they'll survive off anything. You know what I mean? They'll
They'd be
do
like, "Yo,
duct tape
I
and
got this
gum.
intake. You want it? Yeah, yeah. Just get out of my way. It's clogging up my
Hmm.
garage."
Exactly. Like, hey, take it. Like they give you free stuff. The Dodge guys, they're nice. You're not getting anything free. They want money for it. It's expensive, but they're nice. They'll help you out. They'll
That's
guide you in the right direction.
that's why the screensaver for today is a nice little built LS.
It's LS.
It's a LS with a
I like
Holly
LS.
with a looks to be a high ram Holly intake or a long runner Holly intake.
Mm. Mm.
It's nice
It's nice. It's nice.
because
I'd
LS is
rather put
going
a
everything.
supercharger. Rather put a supercharger right there.
Look, I don't
Like a
mind. I
nice
don't mind
little
a properly built LS, but I just see way too many of them. Way too many.
best motor ever.
I can argue that, but I will not deny that.
I'm only the reason why I say that because there's so many characteristics and other motors that could beat it and are better and definitely superior in a lot of other ways. But I'm only saying best in terms of packaging, pricing, availability, and
Then you
cheap power.
then then you gotta go Honda K.
Exactly. Exactly. Then you go Honda
Any
K because
Honda inline four.
mhm,
Even the D
literally
series
because
single overhead cam.
I know I'm like it's funny to see how those are making a name again for themselves because they've always had their own name, but somebody now learn. It's like people. I like that people are learning what they learned from the K motors and how to keep those together now. And
Yeah.
it's like now they're going back and retro applying some of those things they've learned and saying, "Oh, so when we seen this on like a B series or a D series, yeah, K is a little bit more modern, a little bit more stout. So now we just know, oh, hey, we got to just tweak this here and here, adjust the compression ratio
Nah,
here.
D series was like the best. It was cheap. It was people would make power out of them for no reason. It was reliable.
Everything.
Hell, you could like a lot of Toyota motors, you could drain that of oil and it will still run. It was just that good of a designed engine. So I hope the
Yeah,
prices will go up for that because that'll be like a good platform for people who are starting out before they get into
yeah.
LSs and Camaros and all this other V8 goodness. Don't get me wrong, a
V8.
V8's good, but I always have a
I
soft spot
definitely
for a
don't know.
Turbo 4.
See, I only have a soft spot for Turbo 4 only because, let's see. I know they can make power and they're light.
Hell
If
yeah.
they weren't super light,
I had a
I'd be
couple of
like,
them.
okay,
I had my Neon and then I had the Eclipse, the GSX before I got rid of that. But man, I wish I had that car. Oh,
yeah.
now they're up in price. I'm just like, damn. A couple of cops I knew had a GSX. I was like, oh shit. He was like, yeah, I regret it every day. Now they're like 10 grand for like, beat up example. I'm like, why did I get rid of that thing? And I'm like, yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. But hey,
Like, I feel you. You're like, I get it.
I hate it though. I hate the fact that it caught traction like that. I still don't understand why. Like
No,
no one liked the GSX like that. Everyone was like evil, 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 evil. But hey,
that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. And that's my favorite thing when cars, they're not the same car, but they have some similarities. Because then you get to buy one variant of that platform and you get to have a field day, and everybody else is paying top dollar, like just like the Toyota Soar, aka SC 400 and 300, and Lexus America, North America, it's a Lexus,
of course.
and everybody wants a Supra. It's like, hey guys, go get yourself a SC 300, and
But now those
since
are
you're
going
not
up in
gonna,
price.
are they?
Yeah.
Are they? Yo, I
Holy
was
shit.
looking for one for years, and I was like this, like, oh, these are $1,500 cars, 2,500, 3,000.
Exactly.
I could buy a clean one, for like 2,500. Maybe it has some miles, but that's okay. I'm gonna refresh the engine anyways. Now I'm like, you guys want what? $6,000? I'm like, the thing has like 200,000 miles.
I know what I got. I know what
I
I
know what I
got.
got. It's a Supra. It's a Supra. This
It's
is
a
this is the same
rebadged
platform.
Supra.
I'm like,
Rebadged.
and I'm like, you guys need to put some respect on that car's name. I'm like, I swear that car came out in '91 in Japan, and the Supra came out afterwards. Like,
Yeah,
that's supposed to be the
the Mark
granddaddy.
IV, yeah, the JZ880.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, and technically the Supra is a Toyota Soar. So I'm like, they need to respect it. I'm like, they need to understand. the Supra is really soaring, and that's why they made it a Supra. They're like, all right, we need a different name for it. We need to make it called something Super.
Well, it was a
We're not
it
gonna,
was a Celica Supra. That was the issue.
yeah. And then
Cause
like, okay, we got too many models now. We got the Soar, and we got the Celica, but people want something a little more.
no, the
I
so
don't
what
know.
happened was the Celica had its thing, and then they built like a what is it called? A high performance variant called the Celica Supra. And they were like, well, this is catching too much traction. We should split the names. So they split Celica to its own thing and Supra to this own thing. And then the rest is
Oh.
history.
So you mean Nissan's late to the party by making the R35 like a GTR, and then it's basically not calling it a Skyline, and then having just Skylines, aka Q50s and G37. So they're late to the party.
In a
They kind of
set,
took like the top trim, and
I
then
wouldn't
just
say
like
they're late to the party. Is I think they did something.
they did a little differently.
They wanted to make the Z at the time the whole GTR, the Skyline thing. But little did they know when they gave the Skyline what it did in the R31 days, like in like 1979 or some shit, that it was gonna be its own like category,
Yeah,
like the Supra is. So the Z basically had to stay just like the Celica, where it had to stay, type of ordeal.
yeah, that's funny. So the Z is pretty much the only thing like that. And unfortunately, as I know we talked about in our last video, they
Mm.
definitely probably need to drop that price somehow because
Oh yeah,
but unfortunately, I mean, like
that
I
price
said,
is
it's right in
ridiculous.
line. It's right in line with inflation. Like I expect a new GTR to come out. I expect it to be over 100,000. But
Well,
I hope with that they give us a new modern Q50, Q60 Skyline that's now finally an actual baby GTR, just like how
the
Audi had turned the TT into a baby R8.
the thing about that is like the Nissan GTR platform is always gonna fetch that price because it's always been that pricey. So it's like if you
Epitome,
they're gonna be at
epitome of Nissan.
I'm thinking they're gonna be at 90,000 base, and then it'll go up from there, which it always kind of has been. Like if you look, even if you look at the R34, R33, as far as that price margin prior to inflation and all that stuff, if you're looking at the dollar per value of the late 90s, early 2000s, you're in the same ballpark. Same thing with the Super. With the Super, you were in the same ballpark. So I wouldn't be surprised if it starts that
True.
high. But the Z was never supposed to be that expensive. That's what kind of frustrates me about the Z.
I feel like the Z was always on a track to be like, Nissan Z pricing.
It's supposed to be the
It's always
affordable
been
sports car.
see today in modern world, like this is gonna sound crazy, but I remember when looking for an SUV, this is what the dealers told me. They said if you're looking for a full size SUV, 60 to 70K should be affordable. And mind you, I'm like, yeah, because back in the day, most of our fully loaded, or most of our favorite models, like a Terminator, or like a fully loaded 2500 diesel Cummins, or a Sierra with the Duramax, or Ford Power Stroke with a 6.0 King Ranch edition,
Yeah.
or Lariat, or or like a Denali, or Bighorn Ram, Laramie, whatever limit, whatever package. They were all topping out at 60, 70,000. So at least you spent 70,000, you got this workhorse truck, and it was gonna work for you.
He
Today,
said, now it's affordable.
$70,000.
It's
Yeah,
affordable.
it's affordable. Hey guys, yeah. What do you mean you can't afford a $80,000 Hellcat? That's an affordable muscle car. What? It's
That's
like, no,
wild.
guys, this isn't really affordable to most people. That's why you see most people in the Hyundais and Kias around. That's those are the new affordable cars. Hell, Toyotas even kind of went up in value.
Yeah, but there's a
It's
the
still
only pr-
affordable, but like
the only problem with what you're saying, I guess, when you're comparing brands is what it stands for. Like, yes, Toyota is getting more expensive, but you kind of know what you're getting with that. You know that car, although it's running through its hiccups right now, you know that car is gonna last you a very long time. Not saying the big three at Detroit isn't. It's just its reputation has yet to precede itself.
their reputation is more speed, honestly. speed, power, performance. You
Of
know what I
course.
mean? It's basically like, hey, we made a car that's going to dominate on the street. That's pretty much how they look at it. They're like, hey, you guys want to dominate, or do you guys want to, just drive like
That's
a
why I'm
regular
gonna
car?
continue having to drive. I am going to continue to drive my Foreigner because that thing will
But
never die. Never, ever, ever.
yeah, well, that's the nine
It
easy.
could overheat so many times, never die.
You have a '90s esque model where they actually try, just like how Mercedes used to try with their engines. Now today they're like some of them are glass. I'm not saying the modern ones. I'm saying they had times getting up into this modern era where some of the engines were questionable, you know, for what you get out of Mercedes.
The thing about it
But
is, all these auto manufacturers ain't gonna do what the Japanese did, especially Toyota. They're not just gonna be like, "Oh, we're gonna be the most reliable brand in the world," but that also is a double-edged sword because now you're a boredom type brand. But at the same time, you know what you're getting. It's like point A to point B could last for 1,000,000 miles. That's been like their bread and butter. That's the thing.
it's true. It's true too. It's true.
That's why Nissan
It's
never
true.
killed the VQ and all that stuff. Because they were still trying to go after something like performance wise, even though their CVT trans were kind of kicking themselves in the foot.
I don't want to know whose idea it was to put a VQ front wheel drive behind the CVT instead of said, hey, we got our 2.5 4 cylinder. It does really well behind that CVT,
That
makes
Jatco
everybody's feel like
transmission.
Altimas. Like at least the CVT behind the 2.5, which came in the Rogue and everything. Which, fun fact, I found out the 2.5 was one of Nissan's longer production engines because like they basically made that until like 2020, 2020-ish, 2021.
Yeah, that started when?
Yeah, they just kept 2000 like two. No, no. I think it started as a 1.8 variant. Then it
Mm.
got bought out to a 2.5, and it just basically remained the 2.5 for like so many years. So it's like it had so many iterations. Then it just remained a
Yeah,
2.5 since like 2002. It was always in the Ultimas.
that's similar
Always made
to
everybody cry.
Toyota's 2GR. Toyota's 2GR has
Yeah,
been like their longest running engine so far because it came out in what
yeah. One thing.
2007, 2008.
Yeah, it came out way back then. All of that was basically it was there.
And
It was their
I
best.
think they're just axing it off. Let me see when
Which one?
the Toyota 2GR engine. Toyota 2GR.
The V6. That's right. Yeah, actually, they axed that off in favor of the new 2.4 turbo four
Yeah, no,
hybrid.
it was in 2005, so it's been 20 years.
Yeah,
They're still building it.
and then here comes the Hemi coming back somehow from the dead.
Yeah, that's stupid. But hey, to each their own, I guess.
Should have never left, but we know
Oh,
why
of
it left.
course.
I said,
Of course. Like, as I get it, you're part of a bigger, what is it, association with you having ties to Europe. A lot of ties to Europe, especially. But,
it's ridiculous. This is an American brand company that you guys are running. You know, they try to treat it like it's Euro,
like,
and it doesn't work.
I don't see you axing the Maserati V8 program, like, because it's Ferrari. So it's like, why are you axing Dodge's V8 program is beyond me.
You know what they should have done? What they should have done, in all honesty, was they should have gave us or gave Dodge, which I know they won't. I know they won't, but it would be cool. Just saying, if they were to give Dodge the blueprints to an older, yes, older, I said it. Give Dodge just like how Mercedes did.
Hmm.
Give Dodge the junk, the old shit, the old platform, and let the engineers go to work and say, hey, let's let's see what we can take and improve on our Hemi and give us a modern day, dual invert cam motor. For example, like they had the 4.7 back in the day.
Yes.
The Dodge 4.7.
Was that the
I'm
Magnum,
not
right?
gonna say Yeah, they call. I think they either call it the Magnum 47 or they call it the Power Tech
Uh,
47. And it wasn't a terrible engine. Like in its final form, honestly, it rivaled the Chevy 5.3, and it did the good job at being a 5.3 rival because the Hemi was basically the 5.7 basically was like the 6.0 rival at the time.
mm-hmm.
And the 47 in its final form ran off dual spark plugs to take E85 and also made 300 and I believe like yeah about 300 horsepower and it made pretty decent torque. It made like 300 and or two either 295 or 300 pound-feet of torque or 210. Like it was okay for most people, and it had a lot of, in all honesty, it had a lot of sports car goodies. Like I mean, it had I forget what exactly in the engine, but like I know it had some fairly good race goodies that made it a good high revving motor, something that you could bounce off the limiter all day,
Mm.
and it'd have fun. Now, it was plagued with problems. It had weak points. Cooling system, let it overheat once, it had gases gone. Timing chain, let it overheat or let the timing chain fail, toast. Don't change your oil on time, it'll sludge up. Like for some reason, I don't know what it was about Dodges, but it's like every single model was susceptible to sludge. Like 3.5 V6 and the 4.7. If you didn't change the oil, sludge. Hemis, same thing. But I think that's just a Dodge owner thing. I think Dodge owners are just,
He said it's a
which y'all can see
Dodge
my
owner
face.
thing. Just
Which y'all can
Dodges
see my
only.
face. I'm coming back over to the camera so y'all can see my face. But like literally Dodge owners, some of them aren't the best. They don't take care of maintenance on top like they should be, and then
Mm.
they wonder why their car blows up. I mean, you see this happen, all the time. People take their chargers to the meet, doing donuts. They're beating the piss off that car and they're not maintaining it properly. They're not changing the oil after that. You just done beat your car bouncing off the limiter. That's more intensive than you driving on the road. But long story short, before I go down a rant on Dodge, they need to give us a modern day dual overhead cam V8. We know they're capable. We know they can do it.
Of
It might
course.
not be as great. Hear me out. It might not be as great as Ford's, but they can definitely learn some tricks along the way, especially with their newfound friends from Fiat and Stellantis. Because come on, you have one of the best engine makers, at your disposal. Ferrari and Maserati. They're right there. They're right there. So
Yeah, but they
all you
just
need to
unless they're gonna build a small displacement motor, they're gonna have to go off their own whim and try to do something else.
it should be small displacement and twin turbo, especially if they want to bring us into the modern day era. Show Chevy and Ford that hey, we too can build a
I under I'm not
twin
saying
turbo.
it's not saying you can't. It's just how many times is Dodge gonna be late to the party?
Always, forever.
Cause Ford did the whole supercharged V8 thing first. Chevy did it. Chevy did it after with the C6 ZR1, and then you see Dodge like later on, like oh Hemi supercharger Hellcat bullshit.
I'm gonna
Then
tell
you
you why Dodge
then
is
you
always gonna be
see
late.
then you see Ford doing like EcoBoost twin turbo V6, which is like whatever, they're doing their own thing. Chevy's like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna copy a 458 Italia to the bone. We're just gonna give it, you know, later on when we build the ZR1, we're gonna give it twin turbos. So it's like, all right, now if Dodge gotta show their hand, they basically gotta have to show their hand swinging. And it's like, why are you always late to the party? Like, be first sometimes. Why not?
You see, you know, I'll say this. You're right. Dodge is always how do I call it? Dodge is always late. Dodge is always that's the thing. Significantly, they've always been late. Even in the '60s, technically, think about it, they were late. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like
Like
the company was founded because you guys were both engineers or mechanics for Ford, the Dodge brothers, and they left to build their own shit to be better than them, and they were better than them in the '60s at one time, to the point where their cars were banned from NHRA racing.
I see the thing behind that, the reason why, like I said, they're gonna be late is exactly what you said. The '60s, they watch everybody. They see what Ford put out. They see what Chevy put out.
They didn't put out
Then they say,
much.
hey. And but they what they do, they say we could do better. So like when Ford had the Terminator, they were watching, and they were gonna respond, but Dodge only had the Viper. You know what I mean? That's when they came out SRT. They were working on responding, but then Ford went with three valves and everything, and the three valve wasn't as infamous as the four valve until the 5.0 came out, and Chevy went from like making just they just had naturally aspirated LSs, and then they just kept doing their thing, and they kept making the Corvette.
Hmm.
They never had those turbo superchargers. But all right, I'm gonna jump around a little bit in between the car history. Cadillac did have a 3.6 twin turbo V6,
Hmm.
and GM only gave it the Cadillac because they didn't know if it would sell as well as under like a Chevy or Buick or any one of the other marks. It had to only be Cadillac so they could charge a premium.
Yeah.
That was GM's experiment in my mind of like the EcoBoost. Like Ford took their 3.5 or 3.7, made it a 3.5. GM had a 3.6. They just reinforced it, made it twin turbo. That was the motor I showed you and I was asking you about because I'm like, oh, maybe young kids buy Cadillacs and they wreck them. It might make a good engine swap into something light. But you looked at the engine, you told me honest opinion. You're like, it's all right. Integrated exhaust manifolds, go. All those little things,
Oh yeah,
little details
it's
that'll
not
be
a
key
bad
to.
engine. It's
Yeah,
just
but for a proper performance engine that you would want to put inside of a kit or a race car or like your car, it's not going to fit the bill. Like it'll work, yeah, and
I
maybe another
just
OEM plus.
I'm just very surprised how we had too many early examples of not only NA V6s but turbo V6s that are all similar as far as design cues, but they're different as far as design. But when it came to America's building their own, they're like, no, we're not. We're gonna do it our way, and it ends up being shittier. And I'm just like, why? Like the R35 was probably the most perfect example of how to build a twin turbo V6, and you blew it out the water because we're prideful.
You got a point. It's like everybody could literally. It's not like the R35 doesn't exist. Every manufacturer could
That
have
thing
went
came out in '08.
and took it.
When did
Yeah,
they
every
started
manufacturer
doing
could have
twin
went.
turbo V6s?
Yeah, yeah, probably like 2012 or 2011 ish.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. After the whole LS7, the LS9, the when they started doing the Coyote for the Ford, like, and then Dodge was just coming back into the Hemi thing. Like, what
and,
did like
and then they just came out with a Pedestar because they needed a new V6. Yeah,
yeah, and then later down the line they started doing twin turbo V6s, and it's like the Japanese been killing it. How did you not like take cues from them? Especially the shared partnerships with like at a time Chevy and Toyota, Ford and Mazda, um, Dodge. I don't think shared. Did they share anyone with the Japanese manufacturer? I don't think so.
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi,
It was
yeah,
just four
but
cylinder.
that was a
Yeah, and
turbo
then they had
four
the
cylinders.
3.8, and they had the 3.8 for a little bit, but like but
Yeah, the
honestly,
Diamond Star
Kia,
Motors DSM. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
but Kia Hyundai pretty much bought the complete rights to that V6 space. That's how big Kia Hyundai blew up, where they were like, all right, no one else is using this V6. We'll keep modifying it. We'll
Yeah,
keep tweaking it,
which is
and
fine. Don't get me wrong, but it's like now you had these partnerships, all this expertise. You look at all the examples and you build it shittier. I don't understand that. Like Ford's probably the closest example to what they could rival the GTR as, but that
oh,
depends on now. That depends on the year models. Like you have to get a certain year model V6 to get the whole individually, um, individual exhaust ported manifolds and all that shit like that. But it's like why?
it's because we had to do it cheaper. So
But there was
the
no gain.
Japanese,
You're still buying a Ford F-150 with a twin turbo V6 for how much? Like barely 20
right?
grand after like 5 years of depreciation.
Let's see that's good. Let's see that shows that shows the cost because like obviously GTR is 90, all these other expensive cars, but like that's why like now it's interesting to see Nissan with their newer VR 35 and 30 variants that I'm like, okay, you axe off the VR 30, but it's still in the 400Z, just not in the Q50s and Q60s.
Yeah,
That tells me that everybody says the Q50 is dead. And I just keep telling people, no, y'all don't know Nissan. They're gonna come back out swinging again. That car's gonna disappear for a couple years. They need to go look at their press.
Yeah,
They
but
need to see how much money they got.
then you gotta look at then you gotta look at all the other luxury variants. Because keep in mind, although the luxury variants are basically Japanese, they were built
Mhm.
for the American market. Lexus, Acura, Infiniti.
Yeah,
they're all technically American as far as branding. They're just all Japanese through and through because it was made by the Japanese. Like they're respectable brands. I'm not saying they won't come back with like a Q50R type thing. What I will say is it's a long shot that they will do that, you know, because the VR30 is still there, the VR35 is still there, but the 38, I don't know. I don't know. Unless they put direct injector in the VR38, that'll be a fun wow to see.
see, I think they could do that. I think they could do that, but like a nice direct injected, you know, turbo V8, while also a port injection, obviously to handle the higher
They're not gonna do a V8.
power.
No way. Toyota's coming out swinging with a turbo four cylinder, right? They're just finishing off their lineup of the V8s because of the IS500 and LC500.
But they're gonna have that new twin turbo
So
V8
they
and that new LFR.
Yeah, but that's still speculation. There is rumors of that going around. There is testing of that going around. We have heard the test card track, um, the track cars. Don't get me wrong. It's still, unfortunately, it's still a what if. They could do all this testing and then all of a sudden it acts the entire program. We don't know that yet.
I I say, in my opinion, Toyota
So right
is back.
now, right now, Toyota is in the downsized market. You know, they did have the
Toyota
V8,
is
but
back.
they did have the V8. They did have the V12 in the Century, and they only had one run of a V10 in the most iconic supercar of all time, in my opinion. One of the most, not the most, but one of the most iconic supercar of all time, which is
Toyota,
the
in my
LFA.
opinion, is back. The reason why I say Toyota is
I'm not
back,
saying they're not back. I'm not saying that. I agree.
only reason I'm saying they're back though like this is because we said in the beginning, right? They focus on reliability for far too long, right? They've
Yeah,
established themselves as one of the most reliable brands.
the most
Now,
reliable brand.
exactly. So now that the world is more open to, like I said, the generational shift. I call it the generation where everybody used to care about. I need a car to take me A to B. It's just a car. You know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
tool. So it's a necessity.
Mhm.
Where today most of us we treat cars like toys. Especially this newer generation. To them, it's just a toy. It's something they drive around, something that they can have fun in. Toyota is new. I mean, he's not really that much younger, but good thing finally Nissan has a younger CEO. But with these younger CEOs, they're helping them understand that it is time to make changes. And it's time to take performance seriously because performance cars now are becoming the bread and butter. We're not saying not don't make regular cars for regular people. You know what I mean? Still make Corollas and Camrys for
Yeah, of
for
course.
everybody else that needs their cars, especially the reliable ones. But yeah, if you give us a modern day twin turbo V8, like you gave us a Supra, but it was really a BMW. I felt like that was their way of testing the market to say, hey, is the sports car market actually profitable? Not is it here or not is it like is it a good market?
Mm.
Is it actually profitable? I feel like Toyota, they're smart. That's the reason why they've been a dynasty in the sense. They prioritize profits, which they use reliability to make profits. Most people just make a good product. It's not reliable brakes, they still make their profit. Toyota said, hey, we'll make profit by making people want to come back and only drive our cars. Smartest philosophy ever. Now, give us some performance cars. Give us your special razzle dazzle that we've all been waiting for. You used to do it all the time in the '90s, and now we have all these older V8s that we keep sourcing from Toyota, like the UZ, the UR. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
All their
UR is about to
motors.
become extinct pretty soon, but yeah, I get you.
So it's like now it's like if they give us another, like this is like a new generation of V8 to take us into the modern day twin turbo power ever.
Mhm.
come on, imagine this. Imagine this. Yes, the engine is capable of 900 horsepower, but Toyota just, you know, places it at like 600,
I'm not.
for the
I'm
for
not saying
street.
they're not going to build another V8. I feel like if they were to axe the program, it will take a break. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not going to build another V8. I do expect them going the forced induction route. It won't be supercharged, even though they had a program where they could supercharge the V8s from the factory. It won't be supercharged for sure, due to just efficiency alone. The question being is the displacement, the configuration. Those two are going to be the deciding factors as far as how they build their twin turbo V8. Is it going to be a hot
Oh,
V or is it going to be a regular outbank V, twin turbo V8? Is it gonna
so
be
yeah,
it's gonna be a 4 liter
RCF
just
one.
like the it's gonna be a 4 liter just like the Germans? Is it gonna be 4.5? Is it gonna be 5.0 just like their 2UR? Like it'll basically be a twin turbo 2UR GSE? Like is it gonna be something along the lines of that? Who knows?
So I need to know what they won or where they won because it says because since they won with the Lexus RCF GT3 in North America or the success that they had with it here.
Yeah, of course.
So I see that. That yeah, it's probably going to be. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 4.2, 4.3, or 4.4. And then they just, they edge it out a little bit. So, like, they did a 4.0, since they've already done a 4.0 in the past. Um, Not as big as a 5.0 because, I mean, they probably could make it a 5.0. They could probably do whatever they want. But
Yeah, that's why I'm like, which route are they gonna go with this? That's the issue. It's the displacement and the configuration of a turbocharged V8. Because if they go hot
uh,
V, will they actually do like they're more likely going to do twin turbos? But I kind of want to see a big single in the middle. I want to see like something a little batshit crazy. But at the same time, I know I'm not going to get that, which makes sense. Now, is it going to be an integrated cast and exhaust manifold design? That'll be stupid. But it wouldn't be far off from what everyone else is doing, saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be efficient." I'm like all this, like, no, I don't want to see that. Like, I want to see like parts. I want to see individual things like better control. Like, but if they go that route, I wouldn't be surprised. Like their 3.5 twin turbo V6 right now is that it is a integrated, it's a cast-in exhaust manifold style engine with turbos hanging off of it. So will it be a V8 variant of that? Who knows? There's a lot of what ifs right now.
it's
That's the
funny.
issue.
Well, I think Toyota has no choice but to build this new V8. Though since they had such bad negative initial press release with the new twin turbo V6, which is not like Toyota,
Yeah,
I feel like now they have to, how do I call it? It's like they got to go back with the mop, wipe up that little spot on the floor, and clean it up. Shine up that spot on the floor. They left the stain on the floor. Now they got to go back.
of course.
They got to refine that motor, and then they got to come out with another motor. So now we can say, because I think what was it? It was the twin turbo V6 had the issue with because the bad the plant, the American plant, what they did something wrong with the machining process
Mm,
and left metal debris in it. And
yeah,
then the four cylinder was having issues with like I think the torque converter, the transmission or something. It's just something because of the hybrid.
it's interesting that the
But
problems they have is overseas and not in their own country.
hey, I don't know
It
what
just
to
shows.
say.
It just
I
shows you the.
mean,
It really just shows you the quality.
you know, and then my thing is though, like, see, that's the thing. I want to know how the V6 is doing in other countries, but like I know other countries. The thing is, they have other options for motors. Like for example, like other markets overseas, they still have
So,
diesels.
from
Toyota
what
still
I,
offers older variants of the old engines. Like they still offer older diesel. They still offer
of
some of the
course.
older petrol engines. We don't get that here. We get, hey, this is America. Here's all new.
So from what I've read, 91 or 92% of the failure rate for the twin turbo V6s from Toyota are in America.
You said 91 to 92%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guess what? I don't need to say anything else. That tells you everything.
That just goes to show you the
Everything.
quality.
Yeah.
And that number more likely will change depending on how many more cars are done. But from what I read, I would say half a year ago, that's what I saw. So that number
It's
could
a
obviously
very
change after
stout motor.
that number could obviously change after 180 days. Don't get me wrong. So
It's a pretty stout motor. 389 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque.
it does what it's supposed to do, but that's not for what they're trying to do in the performance game. We're gonna expect more. Is all I'm saying. And I just don't
But
want to. I don't want to see a lot of the design cues that they have been doing with the twin turbo V6. I get it. It's more for the efficiency and the fact that they're downsizing for um, the global market standpoint, especially for bigger size models. Instead of doing the gas guzzling V8, they're doing the more efficient twin turbo V6. But
V8's are
the
back. V8's are back.
it's only gonna
America's
be a
making
one. It's
enemies.
only gonna be in one model. Like I said, the TURs on this last Hua with the IS 500, LC 500. That's gonna be it, and the RCF, and that's it. I think the RCF is now done since of last year, so now it's just the IS and LC that hold the naturally aspirated V8s. So you either get a Grand Coupe or you get a compact to mid-size sedan with a V8, and that's pretty much
You know
it.
what I'm thinking?
You don't get a sports coupe anymore, which kind of sucks. But
You know what I'm thinking?
what's that?
As the Americans come back out with V8s, as the Germans slowly start releasing the V8 back,
They always had the V8, the Germans.
they were about to axe it, and then
Nah,
like, then then
nah.
then they said, they said they because it's got the same thing with the European market. They were like, no more V8s. Audi axed their V8. BMW was getting rich to axe their V8, and then after everybody said, the American and all the governments, European government, and everybody's like, hey, we're going to, Mercedes CEO said, hey, we're not killing our V8, and everybody started standing up. I hope to see again, and this is what I hope to see. I hope to see all the manufacturers follow suit and say, okay, yes, we too can make a V8, and we're only going to make a V8. Yes, it's only going to come in one or two models. I'm okay with that. I expect in the U.S. market,
I'm low key not
I
okay with
expect the
that, but I
trucks.
get it.
I expect the trucks to all get high performance V8s
Uh huh.
because they're going to look at the American market. They're going to see that Americans like fast trucks. Fast trucks back in the day, trucks were just a tool. They weren't a race car. They weren't meant to go fast. They meant to go around the track. The Americans keep showing that, hey, look, we want the biggest car, and we're gonna make it hustle around a track. So I expect to see Toyota come out with a special one-off variant of the Tundra eventually, twin turbo
Mhm.
V8 based with the Lexus twin turbo V8. I expect to see Nissan make a return of the Titan because they only asked the Titan because they were killing the V8. And I expect Nissan, if they ever come back and make some money, and if they put out their fire,
Put
I
out that fire.
expect I expect nothing but the return of a Titan with R35 blood, meaning it's gonna come with the new VR35 probably. Okay, but I expect them to. They better keep tweaking that engine, like you said. If they already had the VR38, they better keep tweaking that engine and making that engine right.
If Nissan was to go back to the drawing board and build another V8, it to me it has to have all the DNA of the VR38. It has to have the same bore and stroke. It has to have that same exhaust, intake port design. It has to have the same head design
Yeah,
with the bucket follower system. And if it's that big of the displacement, just throw a couple of turbos on it because we see what the VR38 could do with a couple of turbos. So if they make a V8 variant of that with that same couple of turbos, oh man, that will be a automobile right there.
yeah, that's what they need to do. They need to do something. They need something. All these car companies are wondering why they're struggling. The thing is, they have all the answers in front of them. Okay, you give the consumers what they want, the consumers will buy. That's it. And right now, Americans are feeling that right now, right? Americans will say, "Hey, they're not buying a Charger. They're not buying certain Chevys because they got engine issues, but they'll
Hmm.
buy special models. Like right now, everybody knows that Chevy LT engines are having nothing but failures.
Wait,
Low on.
Which LT engines?
Maybe it's not called the LT anymore, but the new 6.2s and 6.0s, or
I was
the new
about to see because
6.2s and
the
5.3s.
LT2 isn't bad. It's just people overhype it because of the whole direct injection bullshit.
Well, I know it's whatever one that comes with the fuel management, active fuel management. Then they're having a lifter failure. They're having
I heard of
actual
that.
bearing failure, cam bearing failure.
Hmm.
Uh, like then you name it, then the list of problems are going on. So it's like it's becoming like, hey, what's going on with the quality? What's going on with your builders? What's going on in your factory? Like, you know what I mean? Because these aren't. It's not like this is a like how what it used to be. Hey, this is a 30,000, $40,000 SUV.
Yeah.
You just spent 80 to 100 to 120, $140,000 on a car, and you mean to tell me the engine just gonna pop one day on you?
Eh,
And if you know, for people who don't know, you don't get gap coverage one year financing, you're still responsible for that payment, especially if that car gets totaled or anything. You're still
true.
responsible. At least if you have gap coverage or gap insurance, guess what? That gap in the value. So, oh, your car depreciated $40,000, the first year. Like, okay, we'll use the Alpha for example.
Yeah,
You
big
know,
one.
I got a nice, beautiful Alpha. You know what I mean? Driving around. You know, you just spent 120. You know the car is supposed to be worth 120, but yeah, value is only at 67 right now. Okay, go figure. Someone dents it, whatever, it gets totaled. Either you're gonna either keep paying for that car and it's totaled, you can't even drive it,
Hmm.
or your insurance can cover it. So, a lot of people are going to be screwed out the water. And that's what I mean about like GM. That's why I say Toyota should see a market that they can consume and capture on. Because the thing is, Americans love V8s.
Of course.
American V8s are having some issues unless you get a Ford. Not everybody and their mama wants a Ford. Like I know so many people.
Wait, even Ford
We like the
V8s aren't all
Coyote.
that special. They just, you know.
Yeah, they're special only if you build them. Because sometimes they're a ticking time bomb from the factory, and
Yep.
sometimes as soon as you build them, they're a ticking time bomb.
Gotta love them
And then the
valve guides.
Hemis, yep. And Hemis, we know Hemis, Hemis are okay. Hemis over time have gotten reliable. I will say they were a little troubled in the past,
They gotten
and they're still a
stretched
little
out,
troubled.
I would say. They're at their final,
Yeah,
leg.
yeah, and like people finally understand them. The parts quality is okay. You know what I mean? Like it's been all right, been decent. They work. Like there's a whole market. Like the Germans see it. The Germans are like, hey, the V8's coming back. Hell, even Mercedes said we're gonna get a twin turbo V12 still for
Yeah,
North
that's
America.
wild.
Like that shows that hey, the Mercedes is like, hey, we're still all in for the big displacement. We're still all in for
Imagine a
gasoline.
quad turbo V12.
Yeah, I know. Then now that's when I would say Mercedes would have to build like a Bugatti S type car to show everybody like, the Bugatti had quad turbos, so like, let's show them
Yeah,
Mercedes
but
can
it
make their
also
own like
had 16 cylinders the size of a V8 almost.
yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Actually, the size of a V10,
So
V12 ish.
Mercedes, I think Mercedes can do something special. Like, they give us like a bespoke mid engine car that had like the engine behind it.
Like at
Yeah,
that
they
point,
could
you're just
charge.
showing off if you're doing quad turbos on a V12. You're just showing off at that point. Like
Yeah, so I
imagine
think Mercedes.
Ferrari's V12 with the big 94 millimeter overbore having four turbos.
Yeah, Mercedes needs to do something because Mercedes is Mercedes. They're always gonna go above and beyond. That's one thing I like. I wish more brands had that philosophy. Hey, the best or nothing. So if we give you a product, it's gonna be the best at that time.
Mm. We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah,
Well,
rant over. V8 return, please,
I mean the
please and thank you.
R35 is returning. Oh, and the R36.
R36 probably a hybrid. It's probably gonna, in my mind, it's probably gonna have an updated, reworked version of the VR38, and then someone at Nissan's gonna say like what everybody's been saying. hey guys, why don't you just take this exact engine and make like another variant?
Hell
Like
yeah.
like hell, give us a yeah, you gave us a 35, but give us an exact replica of that engine with direct injection, with some of the newer goodies that you learned,
Or if they want to
without
re-engineer,
simplifying it.
or if they want to re-engineer a little bit, make it like a 4 liter, put a little bit of bigger turbos, or like a 4.1
Yeah,
liter, put some bigger turbos, and like if you want to go a little fancier, change the V bank angle, and see what you get out of it. See what it can do.
yeah,
Make it a lower center gravity style engine,
exactly. See what you can make.
because they could keep the head design. I think they'll probably have to drill a hole for direct injection if they want to do direct injection, but I think they could keep the cylinder head design as far as, because we know it's like it's stupid efficient.
Yeah, it works. It does what it's supposed to do. It flows and it's compact. Perfect compact package.
But there's no
We'll see.
timeline for this return, they say, nor any information about what it might be like. Will it be electric? Will it still be a coupe? We don't know, but what we do know is a new era of GTR has been confirmed by Nissan's new cool guy CEO, Ivan Espinoza. Ivan Espinoza.
Yay!
Be hoping we will continue working on the sports car, this part of our DNA. I cannot tell you when and how, but of course the GTR name will exist into the future. What will the next GTR will look like is another question for another time, but there may be some clues. While Nissan never released a succession plan for R35 GTR, despite it feeling like it originally went on sale during the Civil War, there's been word about an electric replacement. Even Espinoza himself hinted at an all-electric GTR back when he was Nissan's president of global strategy. Espinoza asked
Yeah,
about electric performance vehicle during a Top Gear interview in July 2024. The acceleration out of a corner is far quicker than the combustion engine cars, and the level of control is much higher, he said. With a GTR, this could be a good thing since it's a car that is easy to drive on track because of the system it has, and you could deliver the same experience with an EV. So you might be right, which kind of sucks.
it's okay. I'm here for it. You know why I'm here for it? It has to mimic the same system like on a Corvette. It got to be rear wheel drive, so the power gets put down, so we as a driver can control it properly. And the EV motors in the front, it's just like I said. Everybody, I know you were like a GTR is not really a computer on wheels, and you're right, but a lot of us treat it like that or considered it like that. So you know what I feel like? Give us a modern day GTR computer. We're able to, just like how Toyota had the GR Corolla with the bias, make it more rear wheel drive,
Oh,
more
with the
all wheel
torque
drive,
steer
more.
bias, yeah.
Give us that. So then now, basically, you can control the GTR. You know what I mean, a little bit more because I mean it's already pretty advanced. I forget the Tesla E whatever. I can't remember the name of that whole system, but that whole all wheel drive system works wonders for the GTR, and it's what's given Nissan, like especially cars like the Q50, the Q60, an edge on the street because, or even the FX, because the FX and the EX, those are all on the FM platform, and everything with the FM platform that had the Tesla system handles phenomenally well for what they are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I saw a post the other day. Everybody's like, man, Nissans make such a good car. They're beautiful. They look amazing. They have great design language. They look amazing, but they're outdated. And, the performance you get out of most of these Nissans, for the price you're getting, like you can't get it. Today you can get a $30,000 M3. Well, man, maybe not $30,000 M3, but you get a 330 or 340 M.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? M340. So you get the almost M, and you're getting a much better car. But I mean, that's obviously comparing a car that came out in 20, honestly 20. Let's keep it real. It really came out in 2003, and just got a new engine, and then got a twin
Ah, man.
turbo engine, and then they just kept updating the platform. So it's like for a car that came out in 2003, it's still holding its own pretty well. and that's the only reason why like I tell people when they knock the those cars, I get it. But I'm like those cars are really dinosaurs on the street and they still perform well. And Nissan has a thing with selling old, antiquated cars.
Yes, they do.
And like basically all they do is keep refining them, tweaking them, improving them. Somehow, yeah, they're able to hold their own, then but they never are able to, take over the market because they're still using old technology. It's like how I felt about the Charger 300 Magnum and Jeep Grand Cherokees for a while.
Mm.
Old Mercedes platforms, they were decent cars. They held their own. So what did Dodge do? They stuck more power in them. They just kept sticking a bigger engine, bigger engine, bigger engine, and eventually to the point where people said, "I have to like this car."
Fucking hell. So, since Nissan already has several years of experience in Formula E, it has electric performance. It has the electric performance chops to make an EV GTR. Someone even called it a GT Rev, and it's considered Nissan's current push to bring as many electrified vehicles to market in the next few years. It seems like the upcoming R36, quote unquote, will have electric motors. At the very least, it should be hybrid. I'm for that. Whatever it is, though, we can trust that Espinoza will make sure it's a proper GTR. He's proven himself to be a real car guy. He drives a Nissan Z to work. He cuts his automotive teeth as an engineer, and his first passion was the Nissan 300ZX. He's even gone on record saying he wants to revive the Sylvia and bring an affordable electric sports car to the market, priced underneath the Z. Bold. This is this talk of a new GTR just doesn't feel like lip service or an executive trying to hedge. Espinoza has a deep love for both Nissan, having worked there for 25 years in a sports car. So when he says a GTR is coming back, I believe him.
That's what I mean. I like him because yeah, his whole history with Nissan, you can tell and that's the one thing I respect about Nissan. It's not like these other companies like Dodge, how they have their CEO, which wasn't passionate about Dodge.
Yeah.
Every single so far Nissan CEO has been passionate about Nissan. Even Carlos Ghosn, before he ran them down, he was passionate about them, but he was passionate about saving them money. It's just he did it a little too aggressively,
Yeah. A little too
too aggressively,
yeah.
too
Let's call it
extreme,
that.
too extreme where it hurt the reputation of the brand. You know what I mean? Like you had the cars looking like American cars. Let's just say what it is.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like I can look back now and say Nissans of those eras look like American cars with hard plastic, cheap interiors,
well,
cheap sensors.
speaking of the reputation of a brand, BMW is desperate to sell you an XM, which I remember we talked about how it was supposed to be the what is it called? The future of
The
M sports
the
cars.
future of M, the showcasing what M is, the epitome what M is in this modern day ever.
Well,
Well, guess
I
what?
don't
They misread the market.
I don't know if you know this, but the BMW XM is dead last in sales so far. Out of every not just the make, but every model known to man that is currently out right now, the XM is last. Like the Ionic 5, the Supra, the GTR, the Corvette, even to the point of the Kia Soul or um Mazda MX-5,
Honestly,
RC350, whatever it may be, it's dead last.
I was shocked. I wish I was
Now,
shocked. I mean, just look at it.
now that they're so desperate that qualifying
Just
customers
look
can
at
get
it.
they're so desperate to the point where qualifying customers can get up to $22,500 off a 2024 BMW XM. Here's how you can
Yeah.
take advantage. Every 2024 BMW XM qualifies for a $15,000 discount, whether you finance or pay cash. If you decide to lease it instead, that discount rises to 17.5. Now, according to a recent dealer incentive bulletin first reported by Cars Direct, customers can get another $5,000 off MSRP through a loyalty conquest program. While $22,500 is a huge discount, you should still be prepared to spend big to get behind the wheel of an XM with a starting MSRP of basically $160,000 because I'm not gonna read 159,995. You'd be paying at least 137,495 with all the discounts applied, a 14% cut on any new car that's still pretty good these days, though. Which bullshit. The catch: B&W is almost out of 2024 model year's XM cars. Shows just 46 units available for sale nationwide. So if you want a deal, you have to hunt for it and likely travel a bit. If you rather settle for a 2025 model, B&W has deals on those too. The company is offering 12,500 off MSRP for both purchases and leases. Seeing such a large discount on XM isn't surprising, like you said. It was the worst selling BMW in America last year with just 1,974 units sold. It was also dead last in global sales for the brand. The company has maintained the XM was always meant to be a low volume production, but these discounts suggest people aren't as enamored with M's SUV as it hoped. We were right. The XM was a bust. No matter how much you want a big, fast SUV, the XM was a bust.
It was a bust. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, let's just think about it. If we look at it, it's like there's no other vehicle that they can really say that's out there that's like,
That's out there. That's like what?
sorry. There's no other vehicle out there that's like, okay, $160,000.
Uh huh.
I can get a G wagon, I can get a G63, and I can go off road. I can even get the GQE. I'm sorry, the GEQ, whatever the electric G wagon. I don't know what it's called. And I can at least do what was that walk. I can do the little spin around. I can do the spin. At least with the Cadillac now, Cadillac has the EV Cadillac, right? And I know the X7 is a hybrid, so that's one reason I'm comparing it to some EVs and some gas powered. At least the new Cadillac has a rival mode or like the little rear stairs, so you can like do little cool things. And like the new Barabbas and Mercedes Maybach SUVs, well,
Mm.
Maybach I should say, the Maybachs, they can do the little bounce. So what does the XM have? It really doesn't have performance on its side because you can get a Urus, you can get a Trackhawk, you can get an X3M competition. Yes, they don't make them for this year, but you can get that. You can get an X5M. You can get an X6M. You can get an X4M now. I mean, there's so many other better bargains for the value that'll actually be faster. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
one thing, like, for example, if this is going to be your flagship of all the flagships, that means this has to have been the fastest. That means this should have been the weight of an X3, maybe the size of an X5, the weight of an X3 with, and if it still had the hybrid components, then that means you would have had to cut weight elsewhere. Figure out how to do it. If you couldn't do it, then you should have just gave us, hey, this is the M XM. This is just M,
Mm-hmm.
because you should have called this the IXM then, or something else, because it looks like you guys wanted to make this electrified, and go down that direction, especially seeing the new BMWs. So this should have been an EV or a hybrid, and it should have been marketed as that, as such, not the epitome of XM. Because now that it's becoming a flop, what does it do for the M brand? It hurts your M brand. It hurts your reputation. It makes you look like, hey, what's the point of me buying an M? And I think, a lot of times people are seeing that today with BMW. I mean, what is the purpose of buying an M anymore? Back in the day, an M was something special.
Mm.
You got an M3 for a reason. Today, I can go get an M340, an M440, an X5M50, like, X
X5
or X
M50.
X7 M50i, or whatever, a 760M. Like, so it's like, what does M actually mean nowadays anymore?
The only thing that's keeping it alive is the 3 and 4 series, but and possibly the 2. But other than that,
Exactly. And that's it's sad when you look at it, when you think about it that way, because it's not we're not I'm not discrediting BMW. BMW is still a good brand of cars, especially if you like them. They have some pretty nice looking designs on some of the vehicles. I'm not saying all of them, some of them, and they have some pretty decent looking interiors and some pretty cool options nowadays. But is they're just becoming another brand. Like I feel like all the brands are. They're
Hmm.
becoming down the wayside where eventually we're only going to know them for like one or two models, and we're only going to want that one or two model from that brand, which is what I fear for a lot of these brands. Which is why I like for a lot of them to kind of keep their whole lineup, tied in as a whole. Like especially, yeah, I kind of take that mentality, looking from the American brands, but that's one thing I'll say over time I liked about Hondas, Toyotas, and Nissans because it didn't matter what car you got in, they all kind of shared some similarity in maybe in terms of interior styling
Hmm.
or pieces, and then even the driving feel. Where like if you got in their economy car, if you got in their premium or their top of the line model, it just felt like the same car but heavily refined, heavily reworked. So you still kind of felt familiar. Not always the case, obviously different between SUVs and cars, but you know, in terms of like the hierarchy of what they've done with their cars, especially in the Japanese side. And the Germans do it too. Like, you see Mercedes, the C class looks like a baby S class. 3 Series now looks like a small 7 Series. So it's like, it's like they did the same thing. But the XM, where does the XM slot? I'm sorry. Where does it slot? If it was based on an X7, okay, okay. Then I see because then it didn't have to be the fastest. It could have been the biggest, it could have been the baddest, and it could have been, hey, we're showcasing all of our technology that we will put in our smaller cars that make our smaller cars faster, but we're gonna put it in our biggest car so we can showcase everything. And that's something that like I see like okay, a Cadillac Escalade V becomes a better value than this. I say that because it showcases you can get an ESV Cadillac, which is basically a suburban meant for a racetrack. Like back in the day, if you took a suburban, slammed it, put a big engine in it, people would laugh at you. Now you can go to a dealership, you spend $180,000, everybody looks at you like you're the man,
I don't think
and
people
then
would
they
spend
say,
that much money for a Cadillac SUV, but I get what you're saying.
yeah, the people who will though, they go around, people look at them like they're the man now, and it's like, why? Oh, because they have an Escalade now that has Magna Ride. It can go around the track. It has almost 700 horsepower. I forget how much that motor makes, like 650 or something. I forget how much it makes. And we already know it's LS based, so like, yeah, you can turn it up and make a lot more. The transmission is a 10 speed. I know we had a combo about 10 speeds, but
Hmm.
it's what keeps it in its power. It's able to hustle down and like at any given speed, it has the right gear to select from, and it's back in the power. It crackles and pops, and it's a big family SUV that can fit like 8, 9 people.
Hmm.
But this, how many people can this fit? I think this is a 4 seater at that. It might be a 5 seater.
See, I
Let me
thought it
look
was
that
a
up real
I thought
quick.
it was a 7 seater, but you might
The
be right.
XM.
You
Let's
might be
see.
right.
Let's see. How many seats? It's a 5 seater.
Yeah.
It's a 5 seater. So even that even makes me feel like it's even more or less special because sorry to say it, it's a flagship. Not saying that a flagship needs a center console, but I expect the center console or some sort of nice, you know, something in the middle, so that I feel like it's definitely a lot more sportier. It just seems like a missed mark. That's all. Like it seems like they rushed it. They came out. They wanted to be first. They wanted to show everybody like a new SUV and their new design language. And this, it almost seems like an experiment and like
Yeah.
a failed experiment.
It's a failed experiment. It didn't do well, and it's overall, like you said, to the M brand, it ruins the reputation to an extent. I wouldn't say it ruins it entirely, only because you
Yeah,
there's still hardcore enthusiasts that love BMW. So when they think M, it traces back to roots differently. But it does
yeah,
hurt it a little to the fact that you called this an M. But Speaking of disappointments, while Toyota was disappointed by the Honda, why Akio Toyoda was disappointed by the Honda Nissan merger talks? He thinks that it didn't focus on what really mattered, which is quite interesting. Fucking
Oh, actually, that this is going to be a very good read because I have a feeling I'm going to agree with him on a lot without reading this because just to ramble real quick, keep it very short. Nissan needed actual help. The Honda Nissan merger is really going to focus on EVs, which isn't really going to save them. It would actually hurt both of them more.
mhm.
And they really need to focus on how Nissan makes good cars, and that's what I think a lot of people fail to realize is that they need to figure out how to market them and how to get people to recognize that they do make good cars and that not everything was a CVT piece of crap.
Yeah.
But now I'll let you go ahead and continue because I feel like that's what happened with Nissan.
So Akio himself joined Toyota in 1984. Akio Toyoda, they named it Toyota for marketing and advertising reasons. Plus, it stuck really well. Likely knows the ins and outs of the automotive industry better than anyone. You know, him being in it for literally half a century
Mm-hmm.
almost. As CEO
Mm-hmm.
for over a decade before stepping down in 2023 to become chairman of the board, he played a crucial role in Toyota's rise to global dominance. In 2024, the Japanese company, founded by his grandfather Kiichiro was the world's largest automaker for the fifth year. At 68, Toyota is more than qualified to speak on what works and what doesn't in the industry. In an interview with Automotive News, the veteran provided insight into the failed merger between Honda and Nissan at the joint press conference held on December 23rd, 2024, which also included Mitsubishi. The parties involved didn't mention what Toyota believes is the most important: cars. At the press conference that followed, it was quite disappointing hearing what they talked about because they didn't talk at all about the products. End quote. Instead, the memorandum of understanding between Nissan and Honda was filled with buzzwords like synergies and business integration, aiming to evolve Japan's industrial base into a leading global mobility company. To be fair,
Mm-hmm.
the MOU did mention plans to standardize vehicle platforms and share models between the two automakers, but without any specific details. Nissan has already addressed the absence of product talk during the press conference. Earlier this week, the company unveiled a comprehensive product roadmap showcasing the fully electric new Leaf crossover and Micra, while teasing several upcoming models. A new Sentra sedan and an expanded Infinity lineup are on the horizon. Circling back around to the canceled Honda Nissan merger, Toyota also cast doubt on the benefits of the merger had the deal gone through. Do you know an example of where there was a consolidation of companies and they made a big success of the competitiveness? Just having volume doesn't necessarily mean that you're strong. Short term, you may see some positive impacts, but long term, it could be quite difficult to come to a state where everyone says they're glad they combined. End quote. One of the biggest issues that caused the deal to fall through just 2 months after an announcement was Honda's desire to turn Nissan into a subsidiary rather than creating a merger of equals. One could argue that consolidating multiple brands largely worked out for its biggest rival, the Volkswagen Group. It's still early days for Stellantis, but teething troubles are evident, especially following the CEO Carlos Tavares' sudden resignation. Toyota is no stranger to featuring multiple brands under its corporation umbrella, having turned Daihatsu into a wholly owned subsidiary in 2016. It also owns Lexus, which founded in 1989. Moreover, commercial vehicle maker Hino became a Toyota subsidiary in 2001. Additionally, Toyota has alliances with several domestic automakers in 2024. It joined forces with Mazda and Subaru to develop a more efficient and electrified combustion engines. The world's largest automaker has a 20% share in Subaru, a 5.1% slice of Mazda, and a 4.9% stake in Suzuki, and also owns 4.9% of Isuzu. Toyota points out that volume can be both a blessing and a curse. He should know, as Toyota sold 10,821,480 units in 2024, including deliveries from its Lexus, Daihatsu, and Hino subsidiaries. The company remained the undisputed leader despite a 3.7% decline compared to the previous year. However, managing production at sales at a scale of 10 million cars annually becomes really troublesome. Quote.
Yeah, that was a good read.
But we talked
I
about this and
agree.
we agreed on certain aspects, and he just laid them out there in one setting.
Exactly. Hey, land one setting because and that was the one thing. Remember, I could tell you. I said Nissan is not going to let it happen because if they're not going to become a second to Honda, especially we're in a world where a lot of people would say, like Honda's a good, especially motors and fun cars, but they would look at a Nissan as like, especially around the world, they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna look at it and say, well, a Nissan's a car, like it's a car you drive. You know what I mean? Like that's like a Toyota you get if you can't get the Toyota. And then Toyota, being as big as they are, we know how these other manufacturers are. Like they have big global international markets, and Toyota is one of the biggest manufacturers to do it. And like they may not have as many like other brands under the umbrella,
Yeah,
but they make as many models as these other brands because in the US we just don't get them all here. Like I said, like I opened my eyes up when I saw that. Hey, Toyota pretty much offers a different flavor of car for everybody around the world, and literally makes as many cars as Volkswagen Group's whole portfolio, or as all through the big three of America. If they were to go globally around the world, they make as many cars as all of them together. And they offer pretty much a different model in every different market and different engines for the different markets.
of course.
So that's why Toyota knows how to scale and how to manage. And he hit the nail on the head talking about Stellantis's teething troubles because that's what I was hinting at, where it's like they're gonna have to learn that, hey, yes, you've been managing Fiat, Maserati, you can manage your English brands and your Italian brands all together the same as the one under the same European law because it kind of can work, but now not with the American side. You can't take Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, CDJR, and do whatever you want with it. You're gonna have to say, hey, what's the American side of the rules? Okay, for you guys, here's the exception. But when we import cars from over here, they're going to have the Hurricane straight six. That would have been fine. I think Americans would have been. They would have said, okay, we accept that. That would have been like how Toyota or like Volkswagen does it with some of the cars they bring here. They get a shared engine that's shared over there, maybe the VR6. Then over here we get the big bad V8 because we're America. Where in that market that V8 wouldn't sell.
I
So
don't.
must yeah,
He understands business through and through. He understands. He knows what he does, and he does it really well, and he does it. Basically, he does it the best, and he knows. He knows the double-edged sword of everything in the industry. He knows what he needs to do to not only survive but make profit margins for companies and such and such. That's why,
exactly.
although people didn't like the fact that he went all boring, he made cars for the people. Unlike Volkswagen, which name literally means car for the people. So then you have that going for him. Him joining forces with companies to not only help them but also use some of technologies like the BRZ and all the other stuff. And the fact that he's able to make companies become whole subsidiaries depending on their usage, like it says here. Where is it right here?
That's
Having turned Daihatsu into a wholly owned subsidiary in 2016, which is basically an industrial more brand that
truck.
focuses on
Yeah,
trucks.
they make little
Trucks,
trucks.
yeah. It also owns Lexus, which is an American side luxury brand. Uh,
Yeah,
made Hino, which is another trucker style brand for Japanese vehicles, Japanese market, became a Toyota subsidiary in 2001 and has alliance with several domestic automakers. And if we're talking about domestic, we're talking about Japanese domestic because that's Toyota's domestic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joined forces with Mazda and Subaru to develop more efficient electrified combustion engines, which is that four-cylinder with 400 horsepower and a 600 horsepower variant. And then has a 20% share in Subaru, 5.1% share in Mazda, 4.9% Suzuki, and 4.9% in Isuzu. All brands. I didn't expect Mazda, but every other brand here, I know he has a percentage share on. I think he had a bigger one before, but let me. It might be also different. Yeah, this is the new. We talked about this combustion engine before, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he knows what's going on in the business, and we were both kind of on the money. They shouldn't have tried to join forces to make Nissan into a subsidiary because Nissan is not that. Unfortunately, it's a bigger group. Yes, they are facing a big financial hurdle right now, but
Exactly.
they should have
Like
not made
Honda.
they in
He's
Toyota knocks it out of the park. Honda decided to turn Nissan into a subsidiary rather than creating a merger of equals. Like that's what should have been. But
since day one, and that is
since
why
that merger wanted to happen, especially with the likes of Honda, Nissan, and Mitsubishi.
wouldn't be surprised if that old CEO that resigned from Nissan ends up at Toyota in a lesser role, ends up there just because he's like, you understand, you know what I mean? Like you understood what was going on, that they were going to make you guys a subsidiary. You didn't allow that to happen. The Nissan stakeholders are probably going to look back and say, he was right, but we still had to let him go because we wanted that deal to happen because at the time that's what they wanted.
I don't think he's gonna get hired for Toyota only because of not focusing on company gain. I think the biggest downfall was, although his biggest uprise was him, his biggest downfall was also him. So it's kind of hard to hire someone like that has such a big, swing depending on his
Yeah.
decisions.
I just saw, I clicked on the little article where they said, how they're gonna bring Nissan and Infinity some newer models.
Hmm.
I like it, but I don't like it, so I'm probably still gonna look for an old FX eventually. But eventually they're going to make a some sport models for the QX80. Um, Nissan's not giving up on Infinity. Here it is. Here is the quick post. So I guess they're going to bring some cars to it, like supposedly. But I know it was axed because obviously the V8 isn't here anymore. They were planning on making a new Q70 that was going to be like a hybrid, but obviously no more V8, so probably gonna get a V6,
Hmm.
new V6. So they make a new QX7. I mean a Q70. Sorry, the sedan. That'd be nice, but it's probably gonna be electric with some of that Nissan Aria technology because the Aria, I believe, is front wheel drive. So to me, if they're able to figure out how to make an engine and just put the motors and put the batteries in the back and everything, then I think they have something. But yeah, it seems that they're attempting to you know rebrand and revive Infinity. So
Well, how? Because if
basically,
you look at the numbers,
it's terrible, right?
they only sold 58,000 cars. Honda Acura band, the Honda Acura brand sold 122,000, while Toyota outsold both of them combined by almost double with 345,000.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I can tell you why
As
based
far
on
as the
those numbers.
luxury variant.
I can tell you why based on those numbers. Watch this. Simple. What does Infinity have? Think about it. There's no Q50. There's no Q60. They only have a QX. They don't have the QX30 because that was shared with Mercedes. So that's basically dead. They have a QX50, which is just a it's not even really a Q50 SUV. It's really its own thing with a variable compression four cylinders, like front wheel drive, all wheel drive, with a CVT simulating 7 speed, like a
Mm-hmm.
simulating a 7 speed. They have the QX60, which is basically a rebadged Pathfinder, but now they finally are taking it a little bit more serious. That's all
Oh
it is.
man.
It's a rebadged Pathfinder. They're taking it a little bit more serious. They got rid of the CVT. They put a 9 speed auto in it, and now it still uses the old sorry, still uses the old VQ35 somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's still alive somehow, and they restyled it, which looks a lot better, which now looks like a Lincoln Aviator.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I used to say Lincoln looked like Lincoln style was always nice. So I'm gonna say what it is. They look very similar. I some would argue and say Lincoln stole Infinity style and just did it better or did it before them. And some will say that they look exactly the same. Put them next to each other, you almost can't tell the difference.
Oh
So,
man.
but it's a nice looking car, regardless. Nonetheless, both of them are Aviator and the QX60 now. And they just finally redesigned the QX80. Finally. Like they
Yeah.
finally are
I
like,
saw
oh,
that
this
in
is
their
our flagship.
museum in Yokohama.
And it's like it's finally showing like, oh, maybe you guys are taking this serious. Because I'll be honest, think about it. They didn't change the car for since it came out in 2012, 2011. It's been the same.
The
So
QX80. Yeah.
how do you expect how do you expect it to sell? Like it's still gonna sell, yeah. And it's like it's almost like they were just proving like we can still sell this car in this market, even though you guys have newer products. Our product will still sell because people know what it is. They were right, but it's not going to sell as well. Now that they finally are updating their lineup, I expect sales to increase. Now let's look at Acura. Acura revamped the whole lineup. You have a new MDX, comes with a twin turbo V6 or four cylinder,
Mm-hmm.
a turbo four, I believe. RDX, same thing, comes with a turbo four, and you can get like A spec packages on both. The TLX was updated, like so. Their whole lineup was updated. They even just brought back. I think they had the ILX, no, or they have something like that, or they cancel that. They canned that, which was like a Civic. They brought back the Integra, which is now basically a rebadged Civic with luxury bits. So like they have a complete lineup. They have the ZDX, which is like a hybrid, and then they have which I think is the one based on the Chevy Blazer, aka the Honda Protege, which isn't their own EV, but it's a Chevy. It's a Chevy underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna call it what it is. It's a GM Altium or whatever Altium
Altium.
platform.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, but they have a complete lineup nonetheless. They got a Ridge line. They got a pickup truck for people who need it. They got a minivan, and they got the Passport now, which is like you don't want a pilot that
I
fits
forgot
seven
about
people.
the passport.
So they have a complete lineup. Now let's look at Lexus, right? I rag on Lexus, but guess what? Lexus also has a complete lineup. Yes, they have the LX 600. It might not be. Again, I'm gonna say what it is. In my opinion, it didn't do as well as they expected it to do because they didn't redesign it as well as everybody expected it. Like, people who were used to in the US market were expecting the LS600 to still be Sequoia sized, like Land Cruiser sized,
Yeah.
previous gen, big, you know,
Because
um,
that's what it's supposed to
be
be.
faster. Exactly. Be faster, be better, be ultra luxurious. I'm not saying it isn't luxurious, it is, but the interior already feels dated since it came out. Like, my thing with the dual screen setup was, I'm like, didn't they learn from Infiniti in 2015 or Honda, Acura in like 2017 where they had the dual screen? Then they all went back to just one, but
Mm.
they still did it. So now, obviously, aftermarket's gonna take care of that, so it's not a problem really in
Of
the end.
course.
But
Of
still,
course.
it's like the car came out and then it doesn't handle as good as people expected it for a 2020 model. It still kind of feels like it's a 2010 feel because it has a solid axle in the back, little things, little
The
things that they could
QX.
refine on. And no, the
Oh,
LX,
sorry,
sorry.
sorry. Yeah.
So then they came out with the GX, and they kept them similar in
The
size,
LX has a solid axle in the back.
I believe. I think it's still shared on that same platform, right? On the TNGA platform. Oh, well, I might be mistaken. I know the GX I think has a solid axle on the back still, and so and the GX being the Land Cruiser Prado, but they just called it the GX here. They made it the same size. So like, what do you are you really getting a better car if you buy LX over a GX? You're getting a different style. One's more
Oh
off
yeah, it
road,
is. It is
rugged
still a
looking.
solid axle. Wow.
So those are the little things. Only reason why I know is 'cause so many people complain about that, where they come over from like one of those, and then they get inside like an Armada or like a QX80, and they're like, "Yo, this car is old, but it rides good." And it's like independent rear suspension. It makes all the difference. So like, you go over those bumps. Yeah, you're in the front, so you're the driver, but like the people in the back feel it, and you notice that weight shift. But me, I drive my SUV like a race car. I'm like, "Pew, pew." Like, wow, this just shouldn't do this. But like they have so again, long story short, Lexus still has a complete lineup. They still have the LX, they still have the GX, so they still have it, even though people might not like it as much as the previous gen, and the previous gen is still gonna sell, in my opinion. Like people are still going in dealerships like, you still got an old LX 570, or yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Like, they're still getting that old V8 model because they love the size of it, they love the capability of it. And then the GX, same thing. They're going to get the 460 because what it was just, or the 470, well, no, 460. It was just capable. And then what? You still have the RX,
Mm.
which is like a Highlander, but ultra luxurified, where it's actually just different enough where it handles a little bit better, has more power, responds a little bit better, better better equipment, better leather, everything. So like, it's actually different. They still got the ES because they canceled the Avalon. Now the ES gets to take the place of the Avalon and the Camry, and actually be like, step up a lot, like a big step up from the Camry. Camry gets to be sporty, and they still what they did they no they think they discontinued GS, right? The
Yeah.
GS is gone. But they have the IS, they got the LS, and they got the RCF. I mean, sorry, they got the RC, which I think is going away, went away for 2024, or it might be here one more year.
I think it's one more year.
And then, but they still have the LC, which is like, ooh, you know what I mean? That's like that's bespoke enough where it's like, ooh, that makes people say, ooh, that's a Lexus. Like that's the Lexus I drive. Like at least the LC does what the BMW XM was supposed to do. The LC gives people that, whoa, this
The
showcases
Grand
their
Tourer.
design.
Yeah.
This showcases the beauty of the Lexus, where the XM showcases the ugly of BMW currently. Um, wow, what else? So that was Honda, that was Acura, that was Lexus, and then yeah, like I said, Infinity has nothing. They just now finally, like, if you look at their lineup is so fragmented, and it shocks me and
So
it appalls me because
fragmented.
like, watch this, the Q50 wasn't updated at all, so it kept the same design since 2015. When the FX was there, they didn't update the headlights, so the FX went into its last generation of 2017, last year's, still looking like a 2009 model. Never got the updated headlight design or anything, just was called the QX70. Then you got the other Infinity SUVs that got the newer updated looking headlights, or like the QX80 that was facelifted. But then you got some that have the older lights, like mine, that have the original design. Then you got this new design language that they put on the QX60 when it came out, which doesn't really follow the QX80's design. It was almost like they kept evolving it, and evolving it, but in different models. So everybody's like, "Where's your story? What's going on here?" I don't know what car is what. The only way people know that it's an Infinity nowadays is because of the curves and the designs and the lights. They know like, oh, that's an Infinity. But other than that, the brand almost has no identity right now, other than for designs.
Wow.
They just
This
have nice design
this
like
LX 570 looks crazy. The 600 looks cool too. I completely
exactly,
forgot. I like the 570.
exactly.
I like the
Like
570
like when I
front.
see those,
I like the 570 front, but I like the 600 rear.
exactly. That's the thing. I like the 570 front, the 600 rear. Man, if they would have mixed those together, boom, they'd have the best car because the 600 is smaller, than the 570, like dimension wise, like the body wise. Like if you look at that back window, the
Yeah, but
everything, and that's
that's
what I
a
mean.
big car though. Still.
It's big, but not as big as now compared to a Armada. An Armada and the LX 570 was closer in size. But now if you look at the new Nissan Armada,
Yeah.
and if you look at the length of it, like see that right there, that's proper size, right? But like now if you look at the Nissan Armada,
Really, Nissan Armada. I never liked the front of
like
the Nissan Armada until
see,
2025.
honestly, I've always liked the little like it just looked
I
it looked
never.
sporty. Right?
I
It
don't
was the
like
first
that.
big sporty SUV.
I think Ford did
Like
it better, and they did it backwards.
Forge,
You Ford's little like it's like this, but just backwards, and it goes around the
Forge.
logo. You know the Ford F one
I get what
fifties.
you're saying. I know. I get what you're saying. If anything, I was thinking it looked more like a Chevy Tahoe, backwards, like a backwards like Tahoe. But
Oh
like
yeah,
that's the
okay.
thing.
Nah, you're right. I forgot about the
But
Tahoe.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I respected Nissan because that's what they've been doing since 2013 ish. You know what I mean? Like it's always had that shape. Like it looks like what was the SUV when they first came out with it? The Frontier,
The
or
Frontier.
so it always had that Frontier look, or like the OG Nissan Pathfinder from 2005 look. Like they always kept that look. Then the Armada came out. This looked like a bigger one. You know what I mean? Then overseas, the Patrol looked like a bigger version of all of those, and then they just kept that same light shape. But dimension wise and wheelbase wise, that's what I mean. The LX 570 was like perfect. It was perfect for the American market. Is what they like. This I don't see as many of these on the road because a lot of people who did have like those big families. These were a little tight on the inside. Like you know what I mean? Like the reviews say this the second row isn't as spacious as it doesn't feel as spacious as it used to. The third row definitely not as spacious. Like Toyota tried to act it up a little bit.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Remove some of the heft on it, which is okay, but it's not it's still a big car, but it's not what like I felt like the Americans were looking for. Now Americans have no choice but to go look at the Tahoe or Expedition, you know what I mean, or an Armada now, or Sequoia. And the thing is, people who are shopping for like an LX, they don't want a Sequoia. They prefer a LX 570, or now they're gonna prefer the GX. Now, I almost felt like Toyota did it on purpose for the North American market because they want people to buy the GX more instead of the LX. And they try to make the LX, it's like a SUV sedan thing for people who want like a big SUV, but they just need to fit maybe their friends in there a couple of times, their family, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they're not really going to make use of the third row like that. But like the GX is now going to be the new soccer mom family car of the Lexus lineup.
Interior looks nice. I like the S Sport a little more, but
No, I'm not knocking. Like the thing is, the interior is nice. It's just the dual screen setup already looks outdated.
it is very interesting they went this route though. I ain't gonna lie. I do agree with you
Like
on that.
if they made it one screen, cool. But like it's like they did it before. Everybody did the new like one screen down there in the
I think it
bottom
works
and the one
well
screen
though,
up there.
because you do have the screen, but this is for more climate control, and the climate control buttons are
Yeah,
still there, so it's not all touchscreen. And then you just have the screen
yeah.
for the where is it? The iPhone, this and that. There you go, for all the features here. So it's not like it's
But
completely
see,
touchscreen, which I kind of like.
but they're gonna have to redesign. They're gonna have to update this interior because now if you look at the new Armada interior, it's like before you would compare the
Starting
Lexus to
at
the Infinity.
106. God damn.
Yeah, exactly. Now look at the Nissan Armada interior for the price that you're gonna get. You're getting essentially the same interior as the Infinity without spending 100,000. You're getting, you know what you're getting? You're getting world class interior for 80,000.
So what would it be? Would I be looking for the Pro X4 to compare to Lexus's was it F
We'll go to
Sport?
Platinum Reserve. Platinum Reserve.
That's
Go
more
to
of a
Platinum
luxury
Reserve.
though. I don't want a luxury. Let's say I want just like the like performance instead of just straight luxury.
Performance.
Or do I need
Okay,
to
off-road Pro
or do I
Parts.
need to go that route?
Yeah, you can go either or because the Armada is more of
Because
the
Lexus
rugged
has
variant.
so you see how it has luxury F Sport, Over Trail, and then Ultra Luxury. So what is the F Sport of the Armada? You know this more than I do.
Oh, okay.
Because
F Sport, scroll up,
obviously,
scroll up.
Ultra
Platinum,
Luxury, Ultra Luxury
platinum or
is
SL. It'd be the SL or the platinum.
really that's the
Yeah,
F
it'd be
Sport.
SL. Sorry, it'd be SL. Yeah, it'd be SL. I'd say SL or platinum.
Because I'm thinking Ultra Luxury is probably the Platinum Reserve, and
Yeah,
then the Over Trail might
it'd
be the
be
Platinum.
platinum.
Well, actually, no.
SL then.
I think the Platinum will be Luxury, and then
Cause the Pro 4X is just
the
off
Over
road one.
Trail and F Sports probably between the Pro X4 and the
Oh,
SL.
Over Trail, yeah, the Over Trail would be like the Pro 4X because like Over Trail off road, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'll be looking for
So
the SL.
yeah, so yeah, do the SL, do the SL,
All right, let's see.
do the SL because I'm still confident in the interior because the thing is what they've done is it's like literally like let's see
Let's see.
interior.
Let's see if it goes to it. Oh no, it's not going to it. Why is it not going to? Oh, there you go. Never mind. Wow, it's like a Ram. No, that's not
like
like a
like
Ram. It's
like
like what's it called?
like a Defender,
Yeah, but
like a
you
Range
like
Rover.
this interior more though? I'm quite. That's interesting.
It has buttons on there, the infotainment, everything. I say I wish they see. I wish they did a better like interactive thing like
But it's like
that.
that dual screen like BMW.
So exactly, it has one big screen across, and that's it. One big screen across. One side does infotainment. You can see your climate on there, and your Google Maps. I mean, it has Google Maps built in, and all of that. I think they might have a better view if you go to the photos. You might have to go to the photos of like if you scroll all the way up.
Like this.
No, you might have to go. Yeah, see, like those are the seats, like those seats. But no, you might have to scroll up and actually click on the Armada itself, and like not
Really?
out of the build. Like, yeah, and then you can see the photos of it.
So
Because
click on the Armada itself. You're saying right?
you gotta go up, yeah, go up. Um,
Vehicles.
um, yeah, vehicles
Let's see.
would it be
Cars. No.
considered a truck? Oh,
Truck. No.
SUV. Yeah, sorry. You already. Yep, sorry. You are in it. Crossover in SUVs.
Yeah,
Might
that's
be.
what I thought.
Go up. Yeah, go back. You were
Armada
back.
at the
Holy
bottom.
sports cars. Yeah, the bottom. And
Alrighty. That's the same
then
towing capacity, 8,500 pounds.
yeah. Oh, okay. Scroll
This style, you
360
saying?
view. So you see it. You see the dash. You kind of get an idea.
It's like a
Yeah, I was trying to
BMW.
see if they had better pictures. Yeah,
Yeah, like right here.
it has a built-in dash cam. Built-in dash cam. Like, come on. Like built-in. You got that view so you can see everything. You got hard buttons. You got air suspension on all four corners. Electronic lock and rear diff. There we go. Like, and that's what I mean. It's like for the price now, and that was always the thing. Like I've always said, because compared to other SUVs, like when I was looking, when I sat in the Nissan or the QX80, it was like I was getting an Escalade without spending Escalade money.
Yeah, but if
Versus,
my only problem is you can't compare this to a Lexus. You gotta compare a Nissan to a Toyota.
so if you compare this to a Sequoia, okay, so now look at the Infiniti QX80 then. If you look at the QX80
No, the
versus the
QX80 looks
Lexus,
nasty. I saw it in person.
and that's what I mean. And literally, there's a reason why I showed you the Armada is because it's like you're literally getting the same interior minus an extra screen. You know what I mean? Minus the extra screen.
But it also follows a lot of the design cues of the Nissan. Although I do like it. Don't
Exactly.
get me wrong. It looks nasty. I like this
Like you,
interior.
so you're getting the same interior, just one is obviously Infinity, one's Nissan. So like this is what I mean why I said that I can see how the CEO was saying they're going to make it Nissan Plus. So like now they showed the Infinity, this is the ultimate, and then the Nissan was like a step down. You get some hard buttons. You know what I mean? And you get it more. It's a bit more rugged. You can get more colors with the Infinity. But in a Nissan, you're gonna be able to get like that orange brown. You're gonna get off-road packages. You're gonna get the lock and rear diff. You know what I mean? You're gonna get the like all that stuff, all the
Yeah, I
goodies.
remember
You're gonna
looking
get
at
the
it. I remember looking at it,
packages.
and I was like, "Yo, this thing look like a Land Rover Range Rover."
And so that's why I'm like they're finally taking it serious. And that's why I was like, Lexus, right, didn't really have competition when they redesigned the LX. So they were like, oh, Nissan's hurting. They still got the the previous model, which honestly wasn't anything to write home about. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the previous model, you can see the age of the interior. But like at least with this, it's like, whoa, they're finally taking
Yeah.
the
My
luxury
only
SUV
my
serious.
only problem is they only have a 4-wheel drive and a rear wheel drive. They don't have like no trail, ultra luxury, all this other stuff. Which I'm like, whatever.
See,
But for what you're getting, depending on what you selected, the fact that you start at 87,000 versus like, let's say with
yeah,
Lexus's, just regular luxury. Let's say, I believe starting price. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
you
It
know,
said it earlier.
yeah, I think that was for the F Sport. The F Sport was starting at 100. So let's see. We have to go to build. Yeah, click build. Let's build it.
Oh, let's go back.
Yeah, yeah, I can look. Yeah, we'll look it up. Let's look. Let's see. LX 600.
From 106, 113 for the F Sport. So from 106 for the standard luxury exterior trim to 113 for the F Sport, and I don't know what the other two might cost. But at least we know the F Sport, like basically F trim, is 113 versus Infinity's rear wheel or all wheel drive options starting at 87. So
And
for
I know top of the
what is that?
line, fully loaded in the autograph trim,
Almost it's like
it'll be
26,
112.
$27,000 difference. I can understand for to an extent.
And then also then obviously people are gonna cross shop those. They're gonna look at the Armada because the Armada offers like you know what I mean. Like at least at one point, right? The the I'm not even gonna say the Sequoia, but I have to. At least at one point, the Sequoia was rugged enough that like the Lexus, you got just leather and everything else, but the Sequoia
Of
just
course.
worked. It was functional. So you would, you might even compare that too with them, even though you would really compare like a Sequoia or Armada to like an Expedition Tahoe and the LX and the Infinity QX80 to like an Escalade or a Navigator. But like when people start cross shopping, it's like that's what I mean. The LX got a little more compact. The LX is almost, in my opinion, the size of what's the other
I
American
wouldn't say it's all compact though. Hold on.
like
The LX 600.
yeah, like if you look at the dimensions,
Yeah.
it's
Hold on.
definitely tighter versus the LX 570. The QX80 is like a bus compared to that.
Yeah. It has a length of 200 inches, while the QX80 is 211, so 11 inches more. A width of 78.3 inches. The width is 83,
83,
so that's 6 inches more,
10 inches. Yeah,
and a height of at tallest 78 and tallest 74. So yeah, it's more
it's
compact,
like
you
a
would say.
bus. It's definitely a bus. And the thing is, everybody like in the reviews, the only reason why I noticed is because when the LX 300 series, they call it Series 300.
But the LX 570 is
Um,
similar. It's not, the length is the same. It's still 200 inches. The width is the same, and the height is shorter on the LX 600 versus the LX 570, which is just 1 inch. So it's not like they're practically the same besides height. It's just 1 inch taller.
hmm,
Ooh, Yes,
Oh, that's interesting.
the Infinity is somewhat of a like a bigger vehicle just because it has 4 inches
That's
here,
interesting.
almost a foot here.
You know what's weird? It's funny. It's because I swear, whenever I'm parked next to and maybe that's the body. So maybe Toyota did is they shaved the fat, trimmed up the body because like I feel like the
They
LX five
shaved the
seventy
fat.
body. Like, 'cause I just feel like the LX 570 body feels like it. Like you know what I mean? When I park next to those, I'm like, nice. You know what I mean? Because like it feels very similar and like it looks very similar. And that could be like the extra overhangs on the bumpers and and stuff like that where like it makes me feel like this is grand. Like I know for me, if I was gonna buy a Lexus, I'll be honest, I'm still gonna go get a 570 and probably
Oh,
supercharge
for
it
sure.
and have like
Oh, for
the
sure.
best. I have the
I'm with
best
you.
of all the
I'm
Japanese.
with you.
You know what I mean? It'd be like Lexus 570 supercharged, QX80 supercharged. Boom. You guys keep your American cars, keep your Escalade V's,
I'll definitely
keep
do a
all that stuff.
570, and I'll be like the Japanese and do like some shit like this and do a wide body.
Exactly, exactly. Do a wide body, call it a day. And me personally, I'd have both of those, and they both would be in the desert with me. I'd be taking trips to the desert and exactly doing stuff like that. Exactly.
Look at that with a snorkel and everything.
Yep. Exactly. Because in my opinion, people don't know what these Japanese SUVs are. So everybody always says, "Oh, Tahoe, 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 Yukon, Yukon, Expedition."
I
But
do like the new
these are the
interior
real.
more on the LX600, but the old interior is like still like somewhat like a classic
It
timeless thing.
function. Thank you, and that's why I understand why Infinity Two with Nissan they didn't change the Armada Patrol interior. They kept it because it was timeless. It worked,
Because
and
look
when
at
you
this,
get
like
in, it's like a time capsule.
although it's a dual screen, you look at the tack, it's still remnants of like the LFA, the LC, the RC. Like it still has these like timeless
It
features
has
in
the
here.
modern.
It just
It
has
has the
dual
the the,
screen
the
now
pieces.
versus
But see,
this.
look at now. Click if you click that old interior again. Like, come on, like I could sit in there all day and be comfortable, and it's inoffensive and it's functional and it works. The new one, my mind, it seems a little more offensive. It's offensive.
But how so? It's not. It's not. It's the design cues they started using with the newer
Like, but
RX
look,
and
look,
stuff
look, look,
models.
look. Yeah, but okay. The vent placement is like it just
Like as you're
the
driving.
screen sitting on top of it. Like, look at it. It's like it's supposed to be a command stack, but it's not gonna age well. And I only say that because so many people have the reviews on it.
Hell, the Honda Accord has this style thing with the big screen like this.
Yeah, but see, they have one screen. They don't have
I
two.
understand, but still.
Like the two just looks tacky. If it was just one integrated screen, okay. But like the two kind of just like
But like, look at
and
that,
then
man.
one's gonna be higher res. They never usually
Ultra
keep the same
luxury.
res quality.
Ultra luxury.
Now, this is where again, again, this is where I say yes. This is where I say
Now
uh,
you say yes.
this is
Now.
where they win. But then the new Infinity, they try to step their game up, but guess what? They're still missing something that a lot of people hasn't really noticed. Where are the rear screens, Nissan? Did you run out of money? And could you not secure a screen
Well,
supplier? Where are the rear screens?
would you rather buy a capable SUV of what you're doing for 80,000, 85, or would you rather do it for 106 to 113? Like you said,
I can go without the
it's all
screens.
about pricing, you know what I'm saying?
I can go without the screens, but my thing is, my older Infinity has screens, so why doesn't the new one have
Hey,
screens?
all I'm
So
saying
my
is
mind, I'm waiting. That means they're bankrupt. That means they didn't have enough money to afford screens. So I
they
gotta
have
wait
money
for the
for
next year out of the
R&D.
year. They better. That means next
You
year
might hate
they
that
better
the
release the
LX don't
model.
got 8 seats, but it got like one, two, three, four, five, 6 screens.
It ain't got screens, but you know what? You know what? I'll take it. The new Infinity got some
You
power
know what this
seats. Like
is? This is what I want to see in my Uber XL. When I
see
order an Uber
now.
XL and they say LX 600, I'll be like, oh shit, ting! Instead of using them
You
tablets
see,
with the straps on the headrest.
now That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I'm like, what is going
That
on here?
Lyft XL, that
Infinity.
Uber XL, that luxury.
Now, now, my only thing is they both offer a good bang for your buck. It's just that it upsets me that they both are
No,
missing one or two
to be
things.
honest, I think the Lex is a little overpriced, but I get what you're saying.
But they're both just missing one or two things. I personally,
Look at
because of
that
when I
room.
seen,
And Lexus DR. Look at that room.
yeah, if you, yeah, with the ultra luxury package where you get the basically the like the S class 7 Series style seats where you can recline that, yeah, the Infiniti don't got that, and that's something that I'm like, this is a car that now, yeah, you can be chauffeured in. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the point of this. Look at this.
But but the Infinity, you can also be chauffeured in. You just don't have a TV. You just
Mm.
get space. You just get space. You're getting space off the rip, and like
You know
because
what?
the Infinities,
Lexus should have doubled down and did what they did in the first gen Toyota Century days and had the little like pop through for the footrest type ordeal.
mm-hmm, exactly. It's like open up, but you know why they can't. Most of these new SUVs, they all have massage sheets now.
Oh yeah,
So
of
like,
course.
I bet this has massage sheets like the Infinity, and the Infinity now has power second row, both sides, so both sides are now power, and you get massaging seats, which they're nothing to write home about, but
To be
you
honest, I
get
can't
massage seats
complain
and
about the interior exterior of this. I just wish it still had a V8. But other than that,
yeah,
because it's a big car, and for it to still have a towing capacity of over 8,000 is crazy.
still has to. They all have to. It's their standard. Although it's been proven most of both of these vehicles, all of them can tow well over 8,000 pounds. It's just that that's what they cap them at.
I'm about to look up lift kits for this
If
motherfucker.
oh, they have them going Dirt King.
Oh, of course. Let's see how much they are for sale. Oh, damn. There's an LX 700. Oh, that's a hybrid. That's why. But
Yeah, the seven
goddamn,
hundred's the high.
Lexus Winter Park. That's down the
Yep.
street. That's down the street from me. Jesus. How much this? 123. I'm all set. I'm all set.
Yep,
Exit.
I'm good.
Exit. Let's go back.
And that's my thing. My problem is not that it's not a bad car, not that it's a bad car. I mean, it's that the price. There's so many other capable vehicles I can get for
Don't
that
get me
price.
and don't get me wrong. I get it. I get it. I'm not gonna knock
But
that at all.
you know that this is going to one last you longer. Two, over the years, that interior is still gonna look brand new. And I'm only saying that now, as being in my first Japanese car. I understand what you mean, but saying like, yo, the Lexus always gonna look new, or now I can say it too, the Infinity's always gonna look new. You take care of it, you're gonna get in it. It'll be 10, 20 years down the line. It's still going to look in one piece.
I'm not knocking it.
And that's
You know
that's the
what?
reason why I'm
You know
like, I
what? If
like
I
both
get a
these cars. Like
600,
I like these brands now.
you know what? If I get a 600 and I get it for a decently affordable price, since it looks so good, I'm putting that 2UR in there. Fuck it. Take that hybrid out. Take it. Take it out. It's a 600. It's not the
Hmm.
700H, so I get it. But take that hybrid out. Throw that 2UR in that motherfucker. Let's see what we can do. Supercharge it. Let's see what we can do.
Hmm. Here I am. All I wanted to do was take a new Infinity and put the V8 in it and
Mm,
put the 9 speed in it and call it a day. Do the Nissan Titan swap
crazy.
so that way it has a V8. Because I'm like, they're making some good cars now. It's just that give us they should have gave us the option. They should have gave like 1 year runs of like the old engine along with the new engine. Like, that's what they should have done. They still should have like just it should have been all updated. This model comes with the old engine and old transmission effort. That's what the Americans did. You got the new car, but it had the old stuff in it for the first year, and then the next year it got all the new goodies.
I, I get what you're saying. Like, I'm not a big
That way,
fan
it's
of
like
it,
it's like
but
they're
I get what you're
testing.
saying.
It's like they're like, hey, new everything, proven drivetrain. Okay, here's our new drivetrain. If y'all don't like it, we're gonna have to come up with another one.
Oh, man.
That's it.
I'm looking up LX 570s, and all of a sudden I see Audi RH right under it. It's like, if you can afford this, why
Right?
not get this?
Oh yeah, it's crazy when you start cross shopping, and that's why people are like, how can you cross shop an SUV between this car? And I'm like, easy. You'll see how quickly, the minute you go on these dealerships, they're like, if you can afford this, you can afford this, and you're like, wait, why don't I just get a Hellcat?
I know, right?
Oh, wait, why don't I just go get an M5? Wait, you mean a CLS 63? A RS7? You're like, I can get one of those, and then you're just like, wait, really? Like, yeah,
Yeah, cause
man.
look, 2014 Audi V8, the
Mm-hmm.
first gen with the curviness,
Yep.
the V8 all-wheel drive, probably the last of the V8s, obviously
Yep,
the only
yeah,
V8.
exactly. It was when they updated. It was when they updated, it had all the modern lights, everything, the modern aesthetics at the time with the
It's a
curves
coupe.
still.
That's all I cared about. It's a coupe. Not a big fan of
Yep,
white, but it's a coupe.
the convertible, the drop top.
Yeah, because I worked on one. It was quite annoying getting to the valve covers.
Yeah,
V10.
exactly. It's like you can get one of these, and it's like that's why I'm like, you know, I understand now
The interior is
when
nice
I
on
see those
these
big
newer
SUVs.
R8s, though. I like the interiors a lot.
Yeah,
Look at
like
that
I
interior.
like it because it's like it's modern now. You can see how like they took it and they just you know just became modern, more angled, chiseled.
Why did I say it's high price with fucking 5,000 miles? But the one with 30 something thousand miles, same price is a fair deal.
V10.
They're both V10s. Is it because one comes with a fucking spoiler? Is that really what it is? I don't
Hey
understand.
yo, wow.
How much? Yeah, 5,600 miles. Why does it say it's a high price deal?
Oh, you just broke the internet. It's great.
Like it even has like the nice little red gut interior and everything. That's why I'm like I'm trying to figure that
Yeah.
out. Because it has red
What's
guts.
wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Scroll down. Anything in the description?
Nah. Two previous owners, zero accidents, clean title. But it's
Oh,
supposedly
zero accidents. That's all I wanted to see. Okay, all right, no wrong.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know how they determine that.
Like how is it high priced?
Don't.
Let me see. It's a regular. It looks to be what silver? Yeah, gray, silver, whatever. Audi R8. No spoiler, whatever. Let me see the side of this one. You know, this one's white, whatever, and it has a spoiler, but same wheels. Let me see this
Yeah, it's
side.
like
Let me see the other side of this one. Same silver gas door. Like other than the spoiler, what's the difference? In the red
it's
interior.
actually
Like why you making it seem like it's high price?
yeah.
Look, good deal. 11,000 below market, 149.9. High deal. $8,000 above market, but the car has 5,600 miles versus 3,600.
Yeah, they're tripping.
36,000, sorry.
It's because of spoiler. It's AI. That's AI at work. It's a spoiler in the wheels.
That's crazy. Whatever.
It's a spoiler in the wheels. That's AI at work. Wait, they have the same wheels.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the interior and the spoiler that's different in the color. It's gray and white. So it's white with
Yeah,
black guts and a spoiler, and one is gray with no spoiler and red guts.
it's funny. That's funny.
But f all that bullshit. Let's talk about the new 7-liter C8 for the 427 to the Corvette from Lagenfelter,
I'm not
which
surprised.
they made
I'm really not surprised.
this behemoth. I like it.
So, you know why I'm not surprised? Because all they did is they probably took the LS3 that it came with, and all they did is bore and stroke it out the 7 liters. And everybody Which is why a lot of them street Chevy trucks that you see on the road, you never know what they're packing. You're like, man,
No,
that's
this
just
is
somebody
this
got
is
a nice
this is a
can.
five. This is the LT2. The 6.2 direct injection motor.
Yeah.
They
Well,
just
same
bored.
same thing,
They just
same
bored
thing.
and stroked the ish out of it.
No, same thing, same thing, same thing as LS3, just the modern day variant of it. You know what I mean? 'Cause LS3 was same thing, 6.2. But it's just the LT variant now because it has direct injection and all that. But you know what I mean? So I'm not surprised they do it. They do it with every single Corvette. Every single Corvette that has always come with a 6.2, they've always offered a 427 package or somebody's offered some sort of 427 kit. So I'm not surprised, honestly, and this is another reason why I like, the LS. I'm not gonna call it. I mean, it's technically LS. So all these Chevy, let me just call it small block
So it's a
Chevys.
104 millimeter bore by 101.6 millimeter stroke. So it's a
That's,
slightly, it's overbore to overstroke. That really makes that really makes 7 liters. Wow.
and so many people with the Chevys in the Chevy world with the trucks, you see so many guys. They're like, yeah, I got a 427. Some of them got even bigger. Some of them go even bigger just because they got a truck, but and they do naturally aspirated builds. But yeah, you see so many people with the Chevy world with Camaros, Corvettes, anything that really had a 6.0 or 6.2. You know what I mean? They really go ham with them, and they like doing 427 builds. You know what I mean? And then they're popping out, and people are like, "Hey, what you doing with that thing?" And that thing sounded rowdy, and they're getting down on the street. And that's why
Hmm.
there's been so many fast Chevy street trucks for years and stuff. Now that everybody's doing it with the Corvettes and the Camaros, because you didn't really need to do it with the Corvette Camaro. They were light. They made good power, but this much power, all that torque,
Mm.
man. So it's funny. They go through a CNC blueprint and sleeving process.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
looking at that.
Then they get all the wow. So yeah, that's what a lot of people do. You know what I mean? They'll just get whatever block. And that's why these LS blocks, were going for a chump change at one point to a lot of money because people were just blowing them up, experimenting with them. Like, hey, let me see what I can do on a stock block, and then whoop, pop.
It's interesting because
Okay.
they're using they're using the LT2 and kind of straining it out because it says here that the LS7 blocks were the absolute best for those Beta Bay breathing crankcase windage, all of all of that stuff they did really well. We lost that on the LT1 and we lost it even more on the LT2. So the LT2 block isn't really designed for big high horsepower applications or big cubic inch deals. That's where we ran into problems pretty early on. But you do all that testing and do all the stuff in house to find those limitations and those areas that need improvement. He adds.
Mm.
So that's crazy how it gave more drawback using the LT2 than the LT1, but they were able to pull it off.
Yeah.
So
Makes you want to get a nice old LS7, huh? Right? Good old
I don't
faithful
mind it.
LS7.
I will always want an LS7. I would always want an LS7. Don't get me wrong,
You
but
build your own homemade LS7.
I want a modern version of a 7 liter, like what Ford's Legend motor is supposed to be.
See? Build a modern, take a LS3 and just build it into an LS7. Call it a day.
Let me see. Let me do the bore and stroke real quick. 101.6.
Yep. Turn your LS3, LS2, LS3 into a stage 3 LS7.
Wow. Hold on. Mercedes M156.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're thinking of something. You're thinking of something here, right?
102 millimeter
You're like, wait,
bore. It's not far off. 104.8, 102. But it's 94.6 millimeter stroke. So let's see. Let's do this again. Copy. Paste. So 102.2, 94.6. Come on. Okay. 102.2. 98.6. I might be wrong. I might have got that wrong. 94, sorry. Come on. Come on.
94.
8. There you go. That's 6.2. So since, let's put this over here. 101, 94. Huh. I wonder what's the bore spacing on that. It might be really tight though. Bore spacing. I don't care about that. Allow. Bore to bore. Let's
And I was like
see.
finding that important that super important details.
Bore spacing is 109. Steel sleeves at 103. Oh, I can make my own. Ooh. Oh, I have an idea.
Oh, 7 liter and 156.
Hell yeah, brother.
Screaming dual overhead cam V8.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hmm. Let me go on marketplace real quick. Let me go on marketplace real quick. You
Finally,
know what I
I
mean?
get my dream.
Let me go on.
Let me exit these Audis out. Get this out of here. I finally get my dual overhead cam 7 liter. Now let's try it. 104. Let me see if I can get a. Let me try a 102. Oh, so close. And what was the 104.8? So damn near 105. So I have to up the stroke. Oh, 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 oh. Yep.
There's a way.
103.1. Let's get it popping, baby. That thing's gonna be
So,
moving though.
so you would do something like that. Boom, boom.
Because if the bore spacing is 109 out of a 102, oh, it's not here. No.
Uh, that's always how it goes, especially when it's like some good old timer information, and then it's like you can't find it.
103, 104 millimeter bore and a 102 crank putting out 6.9 plus liters. Jesus. I would love to build my own 7 liter. I'll even be satisfied with just 103, not even 103.1. Just right smack right there. It'll be the tiniest bit overboard.
Hmm.
The tiniest bit. But I love it.
Let's see. What
102.
AMG pop up? ML63 AMG.
Mercedes
Sorry,
M156. Now we're
we
just
just
doing
need the
research,
engine.
guys. My bad. My bad,
Just
guys.
need the
We're
engine.
just doing now. We're doing cylinder, cylinder. See,
He's like, I need to build this engine.
I want to do this engine. Oh, it's 106. Is it? Is it? Is that right? Oh no, that's AI. You can't really trust AI like that.
Can't trust AI.
I wonder if they have sleeves for this now. You know what? I'm just gonna buy an engine block. How much are these engine blocks? And 156 engine block.
Engine block. Probably
Let's
four or
get it.
5,000.
Jesus, never mind. I'll do something like that later.
Damn.
Fucking hell.
Well, you get the whole car. You get a whole SUV. for 15 for 120,000 miles. 120.
The bore spacing doesn't look too tight though. Business site. eBay. I mean, it does look kind of tight actually now that I'm looking at it. Probably have to use a steel sleeve, which would suck.
Yeah, it's kind of close.
That is pretty tight. Damn.
Hmm. You got to figure out how to make dual overhead cam heads for the LS.
Someone already did it, but it's like a belt driven
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
No.
isn't it like Mercury?
Yeah, Mercury Performance, whatever.
Yeah,
But
do
fucking
some
hell.
4-valve LS
I'm
heads.
telling you, man. I'm gonna grab one of these engines and I'm gonna put it in a 560 SEC. I'm gonna call it Baba Yaga. Cause you're gonna hear that bitch start up. You're
Right? What
like,
is
whoa,
what is that?
whoa.
Like, yeah, you're like, yeah. He's like, you're like, it's met. You don't have to floor it. You
Just
feel it
tap,
idle.
just tap, just put like a big
Be nice little
BTG,
engine.
put like a big PTG supercharger on it.
Could do a custom block.
No, because you might strain the heads depending. So the if you were doing a custom block, you would have to like work around. Either you have to find a way to work around the head spacing, or because I think the block's fine. There's not really any failures much with the block.
See, I know the 5.4 block from Ford wasn't all that special, but could that be bored out? Oh, nah, probably not.
Nah, it's
That
gonna be
probably
too
probably
limited.
yeah,
You would have
too
better.
limited.
I think you have better results with the LT2 short block.
Hmm.
Yeah, the LT2
Trying
like
to think of
that cylinder spacing is like wide. That's big.
see, I'm trying to think of other platforms that came with dual overhead cam V8s, other than like Nissan or Toyota. Trying to think of anybody else that made like a relatively big dual overhead cam V8 other than Nissan.
I wonder what the bore spacing for the LT6 is. Oh, naturally aspirated flat plane crank. Blah 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 blah. What's the boring stroke, guys? Come on, give me the details. Bore spacing. That's a big bore spacing. So the LT6 has an 104.25 millimeter bore and an 80 millimeter stroke, which makes sense.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna be looking for that because to stroke that to 100 and something, it's gonna be ridiculous.
yeah.
But the bore spacing's massive. Holy shit!
Mer-
Imagine fitting the LT6 heads on an LT2 block.
That's what I was
But
saying. That's what I was like.
then again, I don't
I'm
think
like, I wouldn't be
since it's an
surprised.
overhead valve, you have to find a way to put the chain and all that shit. So might be
Yeah,
just a waste of time.
I'd be surprised if soon people figure out a way.
Speaking of custom engine packages, or find a way to cut, let's end it off with what we have been watching for a very long time.
Oh yeah,
That's
oh
this is
yeah,
kind of where I got my inspiration from to do the whole like the chopped up V10, but do it out of a V12 head.
Oh yes, like this right here. This thing screams. It sounds proper now.
I didn't know. I didn't know they were
Makes me wanna.
engineer. I didn't know they were engineers. This says a duo of engineers from Build It Yourself. Spent the last 3 years
That's pro.
building their own V10 from Ford parts.
Hey, I mean, if they were to get this far, I'd call them engineers too. Then that's my thing. I'm telling you. But this has been making me want to get a Ford V10 now. You know, I've been thinking like all
Well,
those
that's why I
work
got.
trucks,
But that's why I got the
U-Haul van.
That's why I got the Ferrari F-140 heads. It's because of this reason. Because why would I buy?
Like
Why would I buy two sets of heads when I could buy one set of heads and just chop those?
like all those Ford Excursion V10s that nobody wants that are sitting out there rotting. Everybody's like, ugh, I don't want this. I want the diesel. I can go literally buy one. You know what I mean? Like there's a 6.8 V10 for sale right now for 70,000 miles.
I was gonna say,
Engine
how much
transmission.
displacement is that?
Hence his V10 now.
Must be
The
massive.
V10 was 6.8 liters, and they put a nice custom camshaft, some custom pistons in it, and, you know now that you think about it, it's just like how come nobody's done this for years? Because like now, I think
Well,
it's the
Ford
same
has done a
architecture as
couple
the
of
mod motor.
projects like it. They just never put it into production.
But but then it's like the aftermarket's been missing a whole market there the whole time in front of them. It was based on the mod motor. It basically used the same parts as the 4.6 and 5.4. It just had two more cylinders. It was a V10.
Hmm.
They literally had a two valve and a three valve version of it. That means the whole time somebody just needed to get instead of four pistons, they should have got five pistons. They could have had this engine singing and screaming as a three valve variant. So like if somebody doesn't want to go through the whole length of making it a four valve, that means you could theoretically make a three valve version of this engine sing relatively well. Well, maybe not be as great as a four valve version, but at least it's over at cam already.
Fucking hell.
Oh, but yeah, you know, I started thinking about it. For like a four valve version. Now all they have to do now is get somebody to manufacture cylinder heads for them, and guess what? They can make a bolt-on application kit now for people to buy. That yeah, they can charge people up the wazoo, and now people can have dual red can V10s in their Mustangs or Cobra projects. Like imagine this. Imagine recreating finally the car from Triple X, that Mustang Cobra
Jesus
concept.
Christ. Oh man. Oh, that'll be very
That's like, you
interesting.
know, that right there, I'll take any chassis, any tube chassis, you know, as long as I can get the dynamics of that Cobra car, suspension, everything, I would do it. I would do it all day. V10, slap it in there, 5 speed or 6 speed manual, call it a day. That's it. Engine, computer, tires. That's it. No traction, nothing. Just axle, tires, rubber, you know, and you in the road. That's it.
You and the road. But all right. That was fun to see. That's why the V10 will always live on. As long as people are willing to put the effort into it. Like him,
See,
like me.
that's why I wanted somebody to do something with the old Dodge truck V10. Like I get it, it's a truck V10, right? Take it off the
That's
truck
why we got the Viper,
management.
sir.
Yeah, but you know, there's so many of those blocks sitting around. I bet somebody with some like custom something can make it. It might be a low revving V10, but still, maybe it'll sound nice with like some turbos,
That's all I'm saying.
some turbos.
But alright, y'all.
Oh,
That was a fun little thing.
yeah,
We got
sorry.
up to 3 viewers. Let's get it. Let's get back up there. We were at 7 one time, but it's all good. All about the progress. So
Yes, yes.
I am
All about it. All about it.
I am your host Sir Rod, and the co-host Sir Blackie on top of me, with his beautiful LS in the back, heavily modified.
Hmm.
and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for stopping with us on Sunday Cars and Coffee. Deuces.